Settle in, dear friend. If you have a mug nearby, feel its quiet warmth through your hands. If you are lying down, notice the familiar weight of the pillow under your cheek and the soft stretch of fabric along your shoulders. Lamplight or dusk light, whichever you have, touches the room with a gentle glow. You are allowed to rest here. There is nowhere to get to and nothing to fix in this moment. The door can stay closed. The world can keep spinning without your help for a little while. Let this be enough. Before we go on, let me know where you're listening from. And if this brings you peace, please subscribe to Calm Buddha Path so more people can find it. Take a quieter breath, not bigger, just kinder. Feel how the exhale naturally lengthens when you stop pushing. Let the next inhale be unhurried, like water rising in a glass. If thoughts are chattering, that's okay. We will not try to switch them off. We will simply give them company. Picture a kind host in a small tea house, placing a cup before every guest, even the guests who arrive late and loud. Your mind can be that gentle host. No thought must be thrown out. None must be believed. Just keep noticing the soft rhythm of breathing, like a tide rolling out and back. You chose this theme because somewhere inside you, the habit of control has grown heavy. Maybe it shows up in the way you refresh the news, hoping to catch the future before it lands. Maybe it shows up in tension across the forehead, in the jaw that tightens at night, in the list that keeps growing even as you try to sleep. Control seems like safety. If you can plan enough moves ahead, perhaps nothing will hurt. If you can predict, perhaps you won't be surprised. This is so human. It is also so exhausting. Tonight, we begin learning a different shape of strength. Not the strength of gripping, but the strength of receiving. In old teachings, the Buddha often pointed to the river. You cannot command a river to run straight. You can learn its currents, you can work with it, you can float. Letting go of control isn't giving up. It's changing the way you touch the water. You'll still meet life with dignity and skill, but the hand unclenches, the breath softens, and clarity has room to appear. Notice your shoulders. Are they slightly raised, as if listening for danger? Let them fall a little, like leaves settling to earth. The next out-breath can feel like a small bow. You might silently name what is here. Uncertainty, concern, restless energy. You don't need to push any of it away. You also don't need to solve it in your head. We will practice a quieter doorway, a way of meeting life that tastes like steadiness, even when the world is wobbly. There's a story from the Buddha's time that fits our theme. A musician, weary and frustrated, came to him. The musician's instrument was a lute, delicate, with strings that could easily go out of tune. The musician asked how to keep his mind steady. The Buddha asked, "When the strings of your lute are pulled too tight, how does it sound?" "Sharp and broken," the musician said. "And when the strings are too loose, they make no music." The Buddha smiled. "And when they are not too tight, not too loose?" The musician nodded. "Then the song is clear. The lesson is plain and kind. Your effort is like a string. When you try to control everything, you snap. When you stop caring at all, you drift. Peace in uncertainty asks for a middle tuning, alert but gentle, engaged but not clenched. You can feel this in your own body. Too tight feels like overplanning, like arguing with what already happened, like rewriting conversations from hours ago. Too loose feels like resigning before you even try, like doom scrolling, like leaving your life to chance. The middle path is steady and responsive. It has room to adjust. It does not demand the world be perfect before you can rest. It gives you back your evenings. Let's practice something tiny together. A pause you can use in the doorway between one task and the next, or when a flood of news hits your phone. We will keep it simple and secular. Just a minute to retune your string. Soft palms pause, 30 to 60 seconds. If it feels right, place both hands over your lower ribs, where your breath moves. You can pause anytime. Feel the natural rise and fall under your palms. Let your exhale lengthen by a beat, like you are setting down a backpack. If thoughts want to sprint, quietly say, "Not now, friend." When you feel the body soften even a notch, release your hands. Notice how modest that was. No fireworks, no grand claim, just a small shift in the weather of your nervous system. Control wants big moves, big answers, dramatic fixes. Wisdom often arrives as something very ordinary. In the teachings, ordinary awareness is sacred not because it is fancy, but because it is honest. It is right here. You return to the body and the body tells the truth. Tired, anxious, okay, calm, fluid, tight. When you listen without arguing, the truth doesn't overwhelm you. It starts to guide you. Let's talk about why control feels so compelling, especially in uncertain times. Underneath control is often craving. Craving for certainty, craving for praise, craving for a guaranteed outcome. There is also aversion, the push against discomfort, the recoil from possible loss. And there is confusion, the fog that says, if I just think harder, I can bend reality to match my plan. These three forces, craving, aversion, and confusion, are not moral failures. They are weather patterns of the mind. They pass through all of us. When we meet them with harshness, they tend to harden. When we meet them with respectful attention, they often soften and pass. So when you reach for control, see if you can name gently what you're actually wanting. Maybe it's reassurance. Maybe it's love. Maybe it's a sense of being safe in your own skin. These are wise desires, but the method of white-knuckling doesn't deliver them. It just keeps the nervous system revved. We begin to experiment with a more skillful method. Small pockets of acceptance, one breath at a time. Clear seeing of what's in and out of your hands, and the courage to take the next kind action without demanding the entire future bows to your fear. Imagine your day as a series of rooms connected by doors. Control tries to lock every door and hold the keys tight. Acceptance leaves the doors open but learns where to place a chair, where to sweep, where to hang a coat. You still care for the house. You just stop wrestling with the weather outside. If your thoughts drift while listening, that's welcomed. Drifting is the mind's way of resting and returning. When you notice you've wandered, your job is simply to come back with warmth. It's like noticing a friend standing at the gate and waving them in. Over time, this warmth becomes your baseline. Your life still contains difficulty, but you are not at war with it. Let me share a modern moment where this becomes practical. Imagine you are waiting for medical results or for a reply that matters to your job or for someone you love to message back. The uncertain space starts to fill with stories, most of them stressful. You try to control the feeling by checking again and again. Often the checking escalates the tension. A kinder alternative is to pair each check with a body-based pause. Every time you open the app or email, you also roll your shoulders, or look out the window and name one color, or take a slow sip of water and feel it move down your throat. You train your system that contact with uncertainty is paired with care. The content might not change, your conditions do. Over days, this pairing becomes a habit, and the checking loses some of its grip. Another small practice for uncertain times. Grounded gaze reset, 20 to 40 seconds. If it suits you, let your eyes rest on one simple object in the room. A plant, a book spine, a shadow on the wall. You can look away anytime. Notice the shape and its edges. Let your breath do what it wants. Name 3 gentle details like green, curved, soft light. When you're ready, let your eyes soften and come back to yourself. These tiny doorways build a muscle you may have forgotten you have. The capacity to stay. Not to freeze, not to collapse, but to remain present with what is here long enough to respond wisely. Control burns fuel fast and leaves you empty. Presence generates its own quiet power. You begin to notice that many moments don't need fixing. They need companionship. The companionship of your attention is surprisingly healing. You might wonder, if I stop controlling so much, won't everything fall apart? It's a fair fear. But think of a time when you were trying very hard to be perfect, and someone kind said, "It's okay. I'm with you." Did you perform worse or better? Most of us discover that care improves competence. Letting go doesn't mean you abandon responsibility. It means you trade panic for poise. You still make lists, you just stop punishing yourself when the list is longer than the day. You still have goals, you just stop confusing outcomes with your worth. There is a tender space inside each of us that learned to overmanage because, at some point, life felt unpredictable and adults didn't protect us, or circumstances changed quickly, or love seemed conditional. The habit of control grew as a clever shield. Thank it. Truly. Take a second inside and whisper, "Thank you for trying to keep me safe." Then, if it feels right, add, "I am learning a kinder way." Notice how even this small acknowledgement can loosen the grip. The part of you that controls is not the enemy. It is a younger guardian who needs a wiser adult to step forward. Sometimes the body carries the story of control before the mind notices. You may find yourself clenching your teeth or holding your breath while reading headlines. You may catch your shoulders slowly rising through the day as if preparing to fend off a blow. Begin to see these as bells of mindfulness, not failures. Each time you catch one, let it ring and answer with a gesture. Unclench and bow. 10 to 20 seconds. If it feels comfortable, let your mouth open slightly and relax your jaw. You can stop anytime. Let your tongue rest like a small boat on a calm lake. Drop your chin a millimeter, like a tiny bow to yourself. Then breathe out softly through the lips. This is how we build a different relationship with uncertainty. Not by forcing the mind into silence, but by training the body to trust your care. When your body trusts you, thoughts have less urgency. They can be interesting without being orders. Then you can ask wiser questions. What is truly in my hands? What is asking for kindness? What is the next small action that honors my values, not my fear? Another story, brief and humble. A woman came to the Buddha grieving. She wanted a cure that would erase her pain. The Buddha asked her to bring a mustard seed from a house untouched by sorrow. She searched every home and found none without loss. The lesson was not cruel. It was compassionate. She saw that her pain, while uniquely hers, was also part of the human river. In that recognition, some of the frantic control softened. She wasn't being punished. She was being human. Uncertainty and change weren't mistakes. They were the fabric of living. When you feel dread rise, remember that you belong to a whole species learning this same lesson. Shared humanity is a softer ground than solitary control. For tonight, give yourself permission to let the world be unfinished. Let your to-dos become tomorrow's guests. Let the news be just data for now. If your mind insists on one more loop, you can offer it a gentle script. Friendly labels, 20 to 40 seconds. If it feels right, silently name what is visiting. Planning, worrying, predicting, replaying. You can stop anytime. After each label, feel your feet or hands for a heartbeat. Let the next exhale be a little slower. Repeat once or twice, then rest. You may notice a small clearing inside, not empty, but open. This is the place where you recognize that letting go is not rejection. It is trust in a deeper rhythm. You are not abandoning your life. You are stepping out of the command tower and into the garden. You can tend the soil and water the plants, but you cannot bully seeds into sprouting. The garden teaches patience without harshness. The body can feel this teaching now. The jaw softer, the forehead smoother, the breath less guarded. If you are listening while lying in bed, let the mattress rise to meet you. If you are upright, feel the sturdy support of the chair. The room has its own kindness. Walls keeping the wind out, floor holding you up, air visiting your lungs again and again. Nothing is asking you to solve the grand puzzle tonight. The invitation is simpler. Stay near yourself. One more practice for the evening, like a closing whisper to your system. Hand on heart permission, 20 to 30 seconds. If it suits you, place one hand where your heart beats. You can pause or skip anytime. Feel warmth meeting warmth. Say quietly inside, I can rest even if things are unfinished. Take a patient breath. Let the hand fall. What you are doing now is not small. In uncertain times, rest becomes a form of wisdom. It allows you to wake with clearer eyes and steadier hands. It allows compassion to keep flowing when the world is weary. You do not need to earn this rest by fixing every corner of your life first. You are allowed to begin here exactly as you are, with the evening wrapping around you. As we close this first part, imagine the lute again. Feel in your own body what too tight feels like, the clenched fist, the racing mind. Feel what too loose feels like, the drift, the numb scroll. Then sense the middle, the awake softness that neither grabs nor collapses. This is our practice in the days ahead. We will keep tuning, not once, but often. We will carry these small tools into dishes and emails and conversations, into traffic and parenting and late-night thoughts. We will learn to lead with care instead of control. For now, let the light dim another notch, or if it's already dark, feel the hush that comes at this hour. Uncertainty can keep moving outside the window. You have a small circle of peace in here. Not permanent, not perfect, but real. Savor it like the last sips of warm tea. Let your face soften. Let the covers or the sweater or the air hold you. Tonight, you have done enough. Listen to the evening air. Maybe a faint breeze crosses your skin. Maybe the hush of a fan hums at a steady pace. Maybe the window is cracked and distant city sounds drift by like small boats on a dark river. Let these simple textures meet you. The room does not ask you to be impressive. The pillow, the chair, the blanket, the breath, they ask only that you arrive as you are. If you like, let your eyes grow heavier, or soften your gaze until the room becomes a gentle blur. In this small sanctuary, you can loosen the grip on the day without losing yourself. Let your breathing become quieter, not forced. Imagine the inhale finding you where you are, like a hand on your shoulder saying, "I'm here." Let the exhale be a little longer, as if you're setting a box down in the hallway and deciding not to unpack it tonight. If it helps, imagine each out-breath carrying one thread of tension away. Not all of it, just one thread. It's enough. We are exploring a different approach to life's unpredictability. Where control says, make the world match your plan, wisdom says, meet the world as it is, then choose a kind response. This isn't passive. It's deeply active, but from a steadier base. It's like steering a canoe. You can't straighten the river, but you can learn the strokes that keep you upright and moving. You can learn where you have power and where you don't, and you can stop wasting your precious energy on the places that never quite obey you. One of the most liberating shifts is to sort what's happening into 3 baskets. Not a rigid rule, just a friendly map. Basket 1. What is entirely outside your control? The weather, the past, other people's choices, the speed of a bureaucracy, the economy, the fact that bodies age. Basket 2. What is partly in your influence? Relationships, projects, your health routines, the culture in a team, your neighborhood vibe. Basket 3. What lives directly in your hands? Attention, speech, the care you bring to a task, the boundaries you set, the way you breathe with a moment. Control tries to shove everything into basket 3 and then feels like a failure when it doesn't fit. Wisdom lets basket 1 be as it is, invests care in basket 2, and roots identity in basket 3. Right now, feel the 3rd basket by feeling your body. The body is your closest instrument of choice. You might unclasp your hands. You might lengthen your neck like a cat waking from a nap. You might allow your belly to move more freely. None of these changes the headlines. All of them change your conditions. That is real power, the power to shift conditions so that good choices become easier and panic becomes optional. Let's make this tangible in ordinary life. Imagine you open your calendar and see a stack of commitments. A controlling mind reacts with a rush of urgency and a tight jaw. How do I bend time to my will? A wiser mind still cares about the commitments but begins with the body. 1 minute of care changes the whole tone of the next hour. Then you choose 1 anchor for the day, not 5, a single value you want to embody. Maybe it's kindness, maybe it's clarity, maybe it's steadiness. That value becomes your north. Tasks still happen, but they happen inside a field of intention rather than panic. This doesn't solve everything. It changes how you travel. Here's a brief practice to pair with that moment. 1 value anchor, 40 to 60 seconds. If it feels right, place a hand on your chest or belly. You can stop anytime. Name 1 quality you want to emphasize today or tomorrow. Patient, honest, gentle, brave, precise. Say it silently once or twice. Feel the weight of your hand and let your exhale slow. Then picture 1 task and imagine doing it with that quality. Release the hand. Small practices may seem too simple for uncertain times. That's because craving wants big, immediate relief. Aversion wants to push everything away. Confusion says nothing will help. But the human system changes through repeated, small, safe experiences. Each time you choose a tiny gesture of care over a habit of control, you teach the body it can be with life without bracing. Over weeks, this rewires expectations. Over months, it changes the flavor of your days. There's a familiar teaching sometimes called the 2 arrows. It can help loosen our reflex to tighten. The first arrow is the pain we cannot avoid, the plan that falls through, the illness that visits, the unkind comment, the uncertain waiting. The second arrow is our reaction, the mental fight, the self-blame, the catastrophizing, the frantic need to fix what isn't in our hands. We often can't stop the first arrow, but we can learn to skip the second. This is not spiritual bypass. It's skill. It's learning to feel the sting of life with care instead of adding extra pain. When the second arrow doesn't fly, the wound can heal sooner. Try noticing in real time when you are reaching for a second arrow. Maybe a message hasn't arrived and your brain invents an entire story about being ignored or rejected. Maybe a project hits a snag and you spiral into, "I always mess up." The moment you notice the story, you've already begun to disarm it. You can say softly second arrow and return attention to the body, to the value you chose for the day, to the exact next step that is yours to take. If there is no next step, you can rest. Rest is a step. Another everyday scene, email. So many of us try to control by racing to 0. Inbox as fortress. We clear messages as if we are clearing danger. But the river is endless. A wiser approach is to set humane containers. Give email a window, not your whole day. Enter the window with a single intention, like clarity or kindness, and a simple structure. Choose the order on purpose. For example, quick replies first, then the 1 complex note you've been avoiding, then a pause to reground. Exiting the window, let it be done. When anxiety returns, you catch it and pair it with care. This turns a treadmill into a practice. It also protects your attention for the work and relationships that matter most. Let's weave in a short story from the Buddha's life, told in simple, secular terms. After a period of severe austerity, trying to control the body to force awakening, he realized that harshness didn't open the heart. He ate, he rested, he found the middle path. Then he sat beneath a tree and committed to understanding his own mind. The key wasn't mystical force. It was clear seeing joined with gentleness. He noticed how cravings rose and passed, how fear surged and softened, how memories tried to claim the present. He didn't fight them into silence. He met them and watched them change. That is the heart of our practice. Seeing clearly without aggression, then choosing the next kind action. In your own day, you can train clear seeing with a tiny ritual whenever you transition between tasks or rooms. The ritual is to name 3 truths: what you feel in your body, what you care about, and what is yours to do next. You don't need to solve the whole week. Just this step, just this hallway, just this phone call. When your attention narrows to what is true and doable, the nervous system finds enough safety to release its grip. Here's a micro-practice that fits in a breath or 2. 3 truths reset, 20 to 40 seconds. If it feels right, pause at a doorway or the edge of a chair. You can skip any time. Silently name 1 body sensation: warm hands, tight jaw, steady breath, tired eyes. Name 1 care: family, honesty, rest, service, focus. Name one next step, send message, drink water, stand up, close tab. Let the exhale soften and proceed. You may notice how this pattern prevents you from getting lost in the fog of confusion. Confusion loves to widen the frame so much that nothing seems possible. Clear seeing narrows the frame enough to act with care. Over time, as you repeat this, a deeper trust grows. You don't need to know the whole path to take this step, and you're allowed to correct course tomorrow. Control often hides in language. Pay attention to the words you use with yourself. Phrases like, I must, I always, I can't let that happen, it has to be today, can create an inner climate of emergency. That climate makes good choices harder. Try translating emergency language into values language. I must finish this tonight can become, I care about doing this well, and I will choose a reasonable stopping point. I can't let them think poorly of me can become, I care about integrity. I will be clear and kind, and their opinion is their work. This small shift pulls you out of basket 1, other people's minds, and returns you to basket 3, your conduct. Another common trap is control disguised as fairness. You think, if I just explain one more time, they will understand. Maybe they will, maybe not. You can speak your truth once or twice with clarity and respect. Beyond that, the desire for fairness can become a leash that drags you through endless loops. It's okay to release the leash. You are not abandoning fairness. You are accepting your reach. You can still protect your boundaries, take wise action, and, when needed, grieve the gap between your wish and reality. Grief is often what control tries to avoid. When you allow a little grief, control has less work to do. Let's bring this to the level of the senses again. When uncertainty spikes, you can use your surroundings to help your body settle. Many of us try to think our way calm. The body appreciates direct support. Here is one more pocket practice. 5 corners grounding, 30 to 60 seconds. If it feels right, touch 5 surfaces around you. The corner of a table, the edge of a book, your sleeve, the wall, your own cheek. You can stop anytime. Notice temperature and texture without judging. Allow one slower exhale after each touch. If thoughts insist on solving, nod to them like passing neighbors and return to feeling. This practice works because the mind has less space to spin when the senses are engaged. You aren't denying thoughts. You're giving your system a different anchor, like a tree root in moving water. From that rooted place, it's easier to choose a wise response. Sometimes, the wisest response is to do nothing for a short time. Control hates that. It equates movement with safety. But pause can be medicine. When you're uncertain, instead of sending a reactive message or making a decision from fear, you can declare a gentle hold. You can say, I will revisit this after a meal, or I will sleep on it. In many cases, urgency is manufactured by the mind. When urgency is real, you'll know because the body becomes clear and simple. Move, call, get help. When urgency is false, the body feels frantic and cloudy. Training yourself to tell the difference is one of the gifts of practice. Another story, this time short and practical. A student asked a teacher, how do I cross the flood? The teacher said, by not pushing forward, not staying still. The student frowned. Then how? The teacher replied, by staying present with each step. In modern life, crossing the flood might look like walking through a difficult week without clinging to last Monday or trying to leap to next Friday. One step, one conversation, one rest, one meal, again and again. Control wants the whole bridge. Presence takes the next plank and places it with care. Relationships are often where control digs in. You might try to manage someone's feelings, pre-write their responses, or make yourself small to keep the peace. Letting go doesn't mean becoming passive. It means being honest about your reach and responsible for your side of the street. You can express your needs without demanding compliance. You can listen without taking ownership of another's mood. You can decide what proximity is healthy. This is mature love, love that honors freedom. It's messy sometimes, but it is kinder and more durable than the quiet tyranny of control. Let's practice a micro-boundary you can use kindly. Clear line breath, 20 to 30 seconds. If it feels right, breathe in and imagine a soft line around your body, like light tracing your outline. You can pause or stop anytime. Say inside, I am responsible for my words and actions, not for others' feelings. Let the exhale be gentle. If it helps, picture placing a stone that marks your line. Then continue. Work is another place control sneaks in. You might polish and repolish, answer messages instantly, take on the weight of group outcomes alone. Excellence is beautiful. Perfectionism is brittle. One way to practice the middle way is to define good enough before you start. Agree with yourself on the time and depth a task deserves. Then honor that. When fear tells you to keep going past the line, breathe and check if more work would meaningfully improve quality or just protect anxiety. If it's the latter, practice stopping. This is a courageous form of letting go. Your identity, too, is a place to soften control. You don't have to be the capable one all the time, the fixer, the calm person, the achiever, the funny one, the caregiver, the insightful one. These are lovely aspects of you, but they are not cages. On some days, you're allowed to be quiet, unsure, tender, or just ordinary. Identity held lightly gives you room to change, to heal, to rest. Notice the small relief that arrives when you whisper, I can be different tonight. When the mind argues, you can bring compassion to the argument. You can say, of course you want control. You are trying to protect me. Thank you. Then, like we practiced, invite a wiser adult part to lead. This inner change has outer effects. You answer the message with steadiness. You decline the extra commitment. You ask for help. You put the phone down and watch the pattern of light on the wall. You choose to be a person, not a manager of reality. If sleep is near, let your body tip toward it. If you are still alert, let your posture grow a little more at ease. The night doesn't need you to solve the future. What it offers is a chance to reset your string, neither too tight nor too loose. Feel the small permissions landing. To breathe, to pause, to say no, to say yes, to do one thing at a time, to stop when it's enough. Here is a final practice for this part, a gentle ritual you can use at the end of a day or the end of a task. The bow and release, 40 to 60 seconds. If it feels right, sit or lie comfortably. You can stop anytime. Think of 3 efforts you made today, however small. Replied kindly, folded laundry, took a breath before speaking, drank water. After each, make a tiny inner bow, as if acknowledging a friend. Then name one thing outside your control that you will release for the next hour. Someone's opinion, tomorrow's news, an outcome. Imagine placing it on a shelf. Breathe out and feel the body settle. Leave it there for now. What you are training is a trustworthy rhythm. Tend, act, release. Tend, act, release. This rhythm honors your care while refusing to carry the universe. Over time, it becomes second nature. You gain a reputation with yourself for steadiness. Even when life is complex, you know the next plank to place, the next breath to take, the next boundary to set. You do not force the river. You become skillful in it. As the night stretches, listen again for the small sounds around you. A distant car, a soft creak, the gentle rush of air. Let them remind you that the world is moving and you are allowed to rest within it. The mind may try to resume command. That's okay. Smile inside and return to the body. Feel the weight that holds you, the kindness of this room, the ordinary miracle of lungs that keep you alive. You can trust this. You can trust yourself. For now, choose one sentence to carry with you until sleep or into the next room. I can meet life without gripping. Say it once. Let it fade like a ripple on a pond. Then rest in the quiet that remains. Rain whispers against the window, or maybe you only imagine it as the air cools. The room feels a little darker now, the kind of darkness that doesn't hide you but holds you like a soft cloak. If you are sitting, let your spine find its simple vertical, not stiff, just easy. If you are lying down, feel the gentle weight of blanket or sheet where it meets your legs. In this calm corner of the world, you are allowed to lean back from the day's steering wheel. The mind can keep chattering for a while. The body can lead for now. Let your next couple of breaths be unhurried. You don't have to deepen or count. Just notice the subtle softening that arrives when you are not trying to manage the breath. The inhale meets you. The exhale empties you. If a thought says, "You should be doing this better," smile at its ambition and let it float by. The skill we are growing here is not performance. It is friendship with the moment as it is. Tonight we explore an everyday doorway to peace that is so plain we often step over it. Trusting small rhythms. Control is compulsive about the big arc, where your life is going, who approves, how to guarantee outcomes. Wisdom has an eye for the near rhythm, wake and wash and feed and move and tend and rest. When you plant your attention in these rhythms, you don't become small. You become steady. Steady enough to carry your care through uncertainty without breaking. Think about dishes. Dishes are an unglamorous sermon on impermanence. Every day they appear. Every day you meet them. Control tries to speed through, multitask, listen to 5 things, think about 3 futures, and finish with a tight jaw. What if dishes became a place to practice letting go? Not a performance, just a modest ritual of presence. Warm water, gentle circles, stacked plates. One task done in a human way. You will notice how the mind wants to steal the moment. That is not a problem. It is the training ground. You notice, you return to the warmth on your skin, to the sound of a plate touching the rack, to the small satisfaction of a clear counter. When you do this, you train your nervous system that ordinary life is safe enough. Safety loosens control. Let's build a micro-practice around this, one that can attach to any ordinary task. One thing only, 30 to 60 seconds. If it feels right, choose one simple action in front of you, washing 1 cup, closing 1 tab, folding 1 shirt. You can pause anytime. For that action, keep attention with the senses. Temperature, texture, weight, sound. When your mind pulls away, say gently, "Here," and return to the sensation. At the end, exhale a little longer than usual and feel a soft, wordless yes in your body. What you may start to sense is that peace in uncertain times is not an event. It's a tone. The tone is set by how you handle small moments. If you treat them like empty hallways between important rooms, your life fills with rushing. If you treat them like rooms with windows, you will sometimes pause and look out. That pause changes everything downstream. You answer messages differently. You hear your kids or your partner differently. You hear yourself differently. Control often disguises itself as speed. Says, "If I move faster, I will feel secure." Sometimes speed is needed. Often it's a reflex. When you slow slightly, not to a crawl, just enough to sense, your actions start to be guided by values rather than by fear. You may still move quickly, but it's a precise quickness. You are choosing, not reacting. Let's visit a modern scene where this matters. You are mid-email, mid-feed, mid-message, and something snags your feelings. A tone you interpret as criticism, a headline that spikes anxiety. Instantly, control leans forward. "Fix it," control says. "Respond now." You feel the body gear up. In those seconds, you can intervene with kindness. You can give yourself 5 breaths before you touch the keys. This is not avoidance. It's skillful timing. When you respond after 5 breaths, you are far more likely to respond as the person you intend to be. 5 breath buffer, 40 to 60 seconds. If it feels right when you're triggered by a message or headline, sit back an inch. You can stop anytime. Feel the chair or bed take your weight. Breathe 5 times without changing anything, simply counting the exhales. After each exhale, feel your feet or your hands for a heartbeat. 5. Ask, what is mine to do now? If nothing is needed, let it go. If something is needed, do just that. You may discover how often the second arrow wants to fly in that gap. Says, they always, I never, this means. The buffer gives the second arrow less sky. Sometimes you'll still shoot it. You are human. but the frequency changes, and with it, your days. Another place rhythm helps is decision-making. Uncertainty can freeze you. Control tries to unfreeze by seeking perfect information. Perfect information is a myth. A kinder approach is to give yourself process promises. For example, I will collect enough input for one day, sleep, then choose a direction in the morning. Or, I will ask 2 trusted voices, set a simple criterion, then move. These promises create containers. Inside them, you stop negotiating endlessly with your nervous system. You soothe it with structure and respect. Let's practice a small decision ritual together. Morning promise card, 60 to 90 seconds. If it feels right, imagine tomorrow's you making one decision that matters. You can skip any time. Name one source of input you will seek, one time boundary you'll honor, and one value you'll protect in the choice. For example, ask Sam for feedback, decide by lunch, protect honesty. Say it silently twice. Picture writing it on a small card you carry in your pocket. Breathe out, then rest. Notice how your shoulders shift even imagining this. Control calls that naive. Experience will prove it wise. Decisions made inside humane containers are clearer and kinder. You will still make mistakes sometimes because you are a person, but you will stop burning so much fuel trying to avoid all mistakes. That is a form of letting go. Let's move from decisions to the body's quiet requests. When life feels shaky, many of us forget to drink water, to stretch, to look away from glass, to step outside. The body asks for simple things, and we treat those requests like interruptions. They are invitations. When you say yes to an invitation, you don't lose time, you gain clarity. You also teach your own system that you can be trusted, which reduces the urge to control the world around you. The kinder you are to your body, the less you need to manage other people and events. Here is a tiny ritual that brings you back when you've been at a screen too long. Window and sky pause, 30 to 45 seconds. If it feels right, turn your head away from your device. You can pause anytime. Look toward a distant point, a window, a hallway, a picture on the wall. Let your eyes widen a little, as if you're taking in a horizon. Soften your jaw. Exhale slowly and feel your shoulders drop a notch. Return when ready. Each time you do this, you break the spell of urgency and let your nervous system calibrate. Over a day, these calibrations add up to a noticeable difference in how you speak, decide, and rest. Over weeks, the tone of your life changes in a way that no single grand gesture could achieve. You may ask, what about the real storms? The emergency calls, the unexpected losses, the genuine danger? Letting go of control does not mean becoming vague when life asks for precision. It means that in calm, whether you practice the skills that carry you through storms. Clear attention, humane containers, steady breath, values-first action. Then, when the wind rises, your hands know what to do. You move, you call, you help, you rest when it's over. There's a story, not from ancient texts but from a common kitchen. A parent is making breakfast while 2 children argue in the next room. Old habit says, control. Raise your voice, command silence, make it stop now. New practice says, pause. Turn off the stove for 30 seconds, feel your feet, choose your tone. Then you walk in and kneel so you're eye level. You say, I'll listen one at a time. You set a boundary on shouting. Maybe one child storms. Maybe both settle. Either way, you held the string not too tight, not too loose. You modeled a way of meeting conflict without a clenched jaw. Over time, this becomes the atmosphere of the home, not because you control everyone, but because you anchor how you want to live. Identity held lightly helps here. If you believe you must be the always calm parent or the always wise manager, you will control to protect the image. If you remember you are a learning human, you can correct, apologize, reset. This freedom reduces the need to manage perception and increases your capacity to meet reality. When reality is met, it often responds. Money and work can be especially sticky because they touch survival and status. Control shouts, Never make a mistake. Keep everyone happy. Anticipate everything. Wisdom whispers. Learn your numbers. Honor your limits. Deliver what you promise. And let go of the rest. The whisper is not glamorous. It is sane. It sounds like a small drum you can carry through the week. You keep time with steady actions. Answer with honesty. Ask for clarification. Renegotiate when capacity changes. Save what you can. Give where your heart says yes. Rest so you don't break your instrument. Here's a practice for the financial jitters that uncertain times can inflame. Enoughness scan, 45 to 75 seconds. If it feels right, sit comfortably. You can stop anytime. Silently name what is already here that supports you. Skills, relationships, shelter, tools, small savings, a library card, a neighbor, your persistence. Let each item land like a pebble in a bowl. Notice the sound of it. Breathe out gently after you name 3 to 5 pebbles. Then, ask, what is one small wise action I can take this week? Note it and release the rest for now. This isn't magical thinking. It's training your attention to include reality's supports, not only its threats. Control narrows your focus to danger and tries to outthink it. Clear seeing includes danger and support, then acts from the whole picture. Let's talk about the trio we named before. Craving, aversion, confusion. In uncertain times, craving often shows up as a hunger for reassurance. Aversion shows up as irritation with anything that interrupts the thin plan you are protecting. Confusion shows up as fog and fatigue. You can meet them without drama. When craving arrives, you can give yourself a measured dose of what it seeks. Reassurance in the form of presence. Hand on chest, a few slow breaths, a sentence like, "I'm here with you." When aversion spikes, you can soften your face and widen your view to include the part of you that is scared beneath the anger. When confusion spreads, you can choose the next simplest embodied step. Drink water, stand up, walk once around the room, write one sentence. Each time you do this, you are living the middle path not as a concept but as a body memory. Another micro-practice to keep the trio in view. Name and nourish, 30 to 50 seconds. If it feels right, pause when you feel off. You can pause anytime. Silently ask, is this craving, aversion, or confusion? There is no wrong answer. Name it softly, then choose one nourishing response. Presence for craving, softening for aversion, simple action for confusion. Breathe out and continue. There will be days when none of this seems to work. The mind is loud, the body is tired, the world is messy. On those days, aim smaller. Aim for decency. Aim for not harming yourself with your own thoughts. Aim for a single kindness. When you lower the bar with compassion, you lower the need to control. On a low-energy day, the goal is not to excel. It is to keep your humanity intact. If sleep is arriving now, you can allow these words to blur and your body to take the lead. If you are awake, come with me into a simple evening scene. You have finished the necessary tasks. There are still things undone, but you place them on tomorrow's shelf. You wash your face slower than usual. You turn off one more light. You stand by the window and look at the sky, maybe dark with clouds, maybe clear with a scatter of stars. You say inside, I cannot command the weather, but I can be kind here. You feel the truth of it. You return to your seat or your bed with that sentence like a small lantern in your palm. You may wonder what letting go will do to your ambition, your edge, your drive. Many fear that if they soften, they will stop caring. But notice, the care you admire in others is not usually frantic. It is focused, generous, and steady. The artists and builders you respect are often the ones who work with the grain of their materials, not against it. They learn the properties of wood, the limits of paint, the tempo of teams. They don't waste energy bullying reality. They channel energy into craft. Letting go of control is how you become a craftsperson of your own days. Consider a potter at the wheel. Too much pressure and the clay collapses. Too little and it wobbles out of shape. The hands learn a conversation with the spinning earth. They press and release, guide and wait, correct and accept. This is not passive. It is intimate. You can live your life like that, hand to the spinning clay of circumstances, shaping with care, accepting the limits that keep the bowl strong, pausing when the walls thin, returning when the clay is ready again. Here is a closing ritual for tonight, one that sets the tone for rest or for a gentle return to your evening. Evening unclasp, 60 to 90 seconds. If it feels right, sit or lie comfortably. You can stop anytime. Bring to mind 3 things you tried to manage today that belong mostly to basket 1. Other people's moods, a broken system, the future. Picture them as 3 pebbles in your fist. With the next 3 exhales, open 1 finger at a time and let each pebble roll into an imagined bowl beside you. You are not throwing them away. You are placing them down. When your hand opens, feel the space in your palm. Place your other hand over it and rest for 2 slow breaths. Then, name 1 small action for tomorrow that is truly yours. Whisper it. Then let the quiet return. As you settle, remember you are learning to trust rhythms you cannot own. The tide moves. The season changes. People come and go. Plans unfold and unravel. You keep attending, acting, and releasing. Your string is tuned by the way you meet the next small thing, not by conquering the whole song. If you forget tomorrow, that is not failure. It is another doorway. You will notice the tightness, feel your feet, and begin again. Beginning again is our secret strength. Listen once more for the soft sounds around you. The faint hiss of air, the small rustle of fabric, the almost silence that holds you. Let your face release the day. Let your thoughts, if they wish, wander like birds settling into trees as the light fades. You do not have to herd them. You are the grove where they can rest. Control can take the night off. You will resume in the morning with a steadier hand. For now, stay with 1 gentle truth. You are allowed to be here, exactly as you are, and still be worthy of love and of rest. Let that sentence breathe with you. Inhale, exhale. A quieter world grows from this. The room holds a hush that feels like the inside of a shell. Maybe there is a candle nearby, its small flame steadying your attention. Maybe you are tucked beneath a light blanket and can sense the cool air across your cheeks while warmth gathers along your ribs. The refrigerator hums in the background, a quiet anchor. If you are upright, let your back lean into the chair a bit more. If you are lying down, feel the way the mattress meets the curves of your body, as if it knows you. In this sound-soft space, nothing rushes you. You can take your time arriving. Let your breath find its own length. Imagine your inhale as a tide that reaches the beach and pauses. Imagine the exhale drawing back gently, leaving tiny arcs in the sand. You don't need to lengthen on purpose. Just allow. The jaw can loosen by a grain. The hands can soften. If thoughts are busy, that's all right. Thoughts can be like birds at dusk, circling before they land. You don't need to chase them. You can become the tree. Tonight we'll turn toward expectations, those quiet contracts the mind writes with the future. Expectations feel like control wearing a friendly mask. They say, if this goes like that, I will be okay. They offer a sense of safety, but when life doesn't sign the contract, they pinch. And yet, we still need to plan, to hope, to orient. The art is not to erase expectation, but to hold it lightly. Like a paper boat you place on the stream, admire for a while, and then watch as the current decides its path. Begin by feeling the body again. This is where expectations live after they fail. In a braced belly, a narrow breath, a forehead that knits. Your body is your early warning system and your early comforter. If it feels right, place 1 palm on your lower belly and another on your chest. Notice which hand rises more easily. If the upper hand does most of the work, allow the lower hand to join without forcing. This is not about perfect breathing. It's about reminding your system you are here, not in a future argument or a possible loss. Your presence is the safety you can offer yourself. Expectations often build around people we love. You imagine how a conversation will go, how a family member should behave, how a friend will surely show up. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. When they don't, the mind reaches for control to avoid the ache. It strategizes, corrects, consults imaginary juries. What if, instead, you felt the ache without a second arrow? What if you gave yourself the kindness you were hoping to receive, then chose a clear boundary if needed? That is neither surrender nor attack. It is dignity. Here is a tiny practice to meet the moment when an expectation collapses. Expectation softening, 30 to 50 seconds. If it feels right when reality surprises you, pause before reacting. You can stop anytime. Name out loud or quietly, I thought it would be like this. It is like this. Place a hand where you feel it most. Offer yourself one warm sentence, such as that hurts or of course I hoped. Take one unhurried exhale. Then ask, what is a kind next step that lives in my hands? Do only that. This practice acknowledges craving without giving it the wheel. Craving wants the world to be a particular shape. Aversion wants to push away any shape it dislikes. Confusion wants to fog the glass so you won't feel. With softening, you meet the trio with clarity and care. You neither collapse nor clench. This is the middle way in motion. Let's step into an everyday scene. You've prepared a careful plan for tomorrow. A work block, a call, a walk, a simple dinner. Morning arrives, and a message scrambles the schedule. Old habit jerks toward control. Rearrange everything 3 times. Hurry, carry a low-grade anger through the day. New habit pauses and consults values. Maybe the value today is steadiness. Maybe it's kindness. You revise the plan once, give yourself a smaller win to complete, and let the unimportant tasks slide without self-punishment. You don't perform heroics. You keep company with your life as it is. When you live like this, people sometimes misread you. They might think you care less because you panic less. In truth, you care in a way that lasts. Control is a sprint that forgets to breathe. Presence is a long walk with water in your pack. You can go farther that way. There's a Zen story that meets this theme with a gentle smile. A monk is crossing a river by ferry. Another boat bumps his and he erupts inside. Who is this fool? Why are they careless? Only to see the other boat is empty, drifting loose. His anger dissolves. The empty boat becomes a teaching. Most of the time, when life bumps you, it is an empty boat. Not personal, not targeted, a drift of conditions. Even when someone's boat is occupied and clumsy, you can choose to treat it as empty for your nervous system's sake. This doesn't mean you don't set boundaries. It means you stop telling stories that inflame the wound. Try carrying the empty boat image into a common hotspot like traffic or the grocery line. Notice how quickly the mind spins a tale about disrespect or incompetence. Then switch lenses, empty boat. Let your shoulders drop. You can still signal, still speak, still choose a different lane. But the heat subsides. You return to basket 3, how you meet the moment, not basket 1, where other people's inner weather lives. Here's a practice to tuck into your commute or any waiting place. Stoplight soft focus, 20 to 40 seconds. If it feels right when you're stopped, at a light, a cue, a loading bar, soften your gaze so the edges of your vision widen. You can stop anytime. Notice 3 shapes without naming them, just their outlines. Let your jaw release. Whisper inside, empty boat. Allow one longer exhale. Proceed when it's time. Expectations also cluster around our own performance. You may hold yourself to standards that once protected you. Be perfect, be early, be agreeable, be invulnerable. These can look like virtues, and sometimes they are. But when they harden, they become cages. Letting go of control invites you to re-examine which standards serve your life now and which belong to an earlier season. You can honor the part of you that needed them and also renegotiate. A small desk-side ritual can help. Good enough line, 45 to 70 seconds. If it feels right before a task, define in one sentence what good enough will look like for this context and time. You can skip any time. Say the sentence softly. Imagine drawing a light pencil line where you'll stop. Work. When fear tells you to keep going past the line, pause and ask, will more effort meaningfully improve quality or only soothe anxiety? If it's the latter, breathe, stop, and place the task in a done pile. This is a practice of clear seeing. The mind's confusion often tells you that more is always better. Reality disagrees. There is a point where added effort yields diminishing returns and added suffering. The good enough line respects craft without worshiping control. We can't talk about expectations without touching on time. Many of us try to control time by filling it. The calendar becomes crowded as a defense against uncertainty. A calmer relationship with time begins with spaciousness. Not vast empty days, those are rare, but pockets of openness where nothing needs to be optimized. A 10-minute walk without headphones. A cup of something warm where you do nothing but feel the cup. A brief look at the sky before entering a meeting. These oases are not luxuries. They are maintenance for your humanity. Let's plant an oasis in your day. Sky glance ritual, 20 to 40 seconds. If it feels right, choose one doorway you pass through daily. You can pause anytime. Each time you cross it, pause for 2 breaths and glance upward. Even if you can only see a ceiling, let your eyes soften and widen. Name what you see: pale, bright, moving, still. Exhale and continue. Over days, this ritual teaches your body that urgency is not the only rhythm. A nervous system that has tasted spaciousness is less likely to clamp down on the people around it. You become kinder to yourself and easier to be with, which is a quiet gift you offer every room you enter. Let's step into a workplace scene. A meeting is about to start, and you sense the usual churn, the fast voices, the subtle competition, the way your ideas sometimes tangle on the way out. Old habit seeks control. Rehearse lines, anticipate reactions, brace. New habit seeks presence. Feel your feet, choose one value, and decide one clear contribution you will make. You don't need to dominate the space. You need to align your speech with your intention. When the meeting tilts, you can name the tilt kindly. We're moving fast. Can we slow for 1 minute to clarify goals? Or you can let the boat drift and save your energy for a better moment. Not everything asks you to fix it. Here's a practice for before you enter that room or click join. Meeting landing, 30 to 50 seconds. If it feels right, place both feet flat and let your hands rest. Open. You can stop anytime. Name the value you're bringing: clarity, kindness, brevity. Name the single point you'll voice. Feel the chair or floor. Let the exhale lengthen a touch. Enter when ready. Now a family scene. You planned an evening rhythm. Simple dinner, a story, early bed, and life laughs. A child melts down. A partner runs late. The pot boils over. Control rises like a tide. In this moment, the middle way can be as practical as turning down the heat, handing out small snacks, and switching to paper plates. The philosophy is humble. Preserve the mood before the menu. You move from the plan to the humans in front of you. Later, you may grieve the lost image of a golden evening. You can. Grief is honest. But you didn't trade your tenderness for a script. That is how peace grows in a home. Sometimes expectation is tangled with identity. If you see yourself as the fixer, you'll feel obligated to intervene everywhere. If you see yourself as the one who never says no, you'll be exhausted and quietly resentful. Letting go invites you to try a lighter identity. For a week, you might be the one who asks clarifying questions, or the one who leaves 5% of capacity unbooked, or the one who says, "Let me think and get back to you," which buys your nervous system time. Play with these lightly. You are not becoming someone else forever. You are allowing more shapes of yourself to breathe. There is another classic story that helps. A student visited a teacher, speaking rapidly about all he knew and wanted to achieve. The teacher poured tea into the student's cup and kept pouring until it overflowed. "Stop!" the student cried. "It's full." The teacher smiled. "Exactly. We overflow when we fill every corner of time and thought with plans and opinions. Emptying the cup is not failure. It's how we make room for fresh water. On a practical level, emptying looks like pauses, like admitting you don't know yet, like closing 3 tabs, like stepping outside for 4 breaths before you hit send. Try this tiny ritual when you feel overfull. Cup emptying breath, 20 to 30 seconds. If it feels right, exhale gently through pursed lips as if you're cooling a spoonful of tea. You can stop anytime. Feel the belly soften at the end of the breath. Whisper inside, make a little space. Pause for 2 counts of quiet. Then inhale naturally. Expectation clings to stories about fairness and deserving. Says, if I do everything right, life will treat me well. When life does not cooperate, bitterness rises. The middle way does not deny fairness. It simply widens the frame. You still strive for justice where you can, still protect those you love, still speak truth. And you notice that the way you move through unfairness matters as much as the outcome. You don't poison yourself with stories that calcify the heart. You let bitterness be a passing visitor, not the host. When unfairness bites, try anchoring in the good ground that remains. 2 feet in good ground, 40 to 60 seconds. If it feels right, stand or sit and place attention in your feet. You can stop anytime. Name 3 pieces of good ground present right now. Someone who cares, a skill you can use, a single next action, a window, a meal waiting, a breath. Let each be ordinary. After 3, choose 1 small respectful step. Take it or schedule it. Release the rest for this hour. This practice doesn't erase harm. It resists the confusion that says harm is everything. You make room for the whole picture, which is the soil of wise action. Let's talk about the news. A daily storm of uncertainty. Control consumes news like it can outthink fate. Presence relates to news as weather. You check at humane intervals. You choose sources that inform rather than inflame. You stop doom scrolling. You pair each check with care. Remember the pairing from earlier? This is where it saves you. Each time the headline sharpens your breath, you soften your body, drink water, look at something alive, touch a steady surface. You respect your nervous system as much as you respect the information. Practice for your next check. Headline and handrail, 20 to 40 seconds. If it feels right, before you open a news app, place 1 hand on a stable object, the back of a chair, a counter, your own forearm. You can stop anytime. Feel its steadiness. Check. When you close the app, keep your hand there for 1 slow exhale. Then release. Over time, these gestures stitch a new habit. Information in, tenderness in. You stop outsourcing safety to the future and begin generating it in the present. That is the heart of letting go. Not indifference, but sovereignty. As we ease toward rest, consider this gentle reframe of control. Control says, if I tighten, I will be safe. Wisdom says, if I tend, I will be steady. Tending includes trimming expectations to fit the living plant of your day, watering your body with breath, food, movement, and pauses, staking delicate stems with boundaries, letting dead leaves fall. None of this is glamorous. All of it is sacred. 1 last practice for tonight, simple and warm. Pocket permission slip, 50 to 80 seconds. If it feels right, imagine writing yourself a small note you can fold and carry. You can skip any time. On it, write 3 permissions. I can adjust the plan. I can rest even if it's unfinished. I can be kind to myself when plans change. Picture tucking the note into your pocket or under your pillow. Place a hand over where it would be and breathe once with that assurance. Let the hand fall. Feel how the room holds you now. The candle, if you have one, keeps its quiet flame. The blanket or air keeps its promise of comfort. Somewhere, a night breeze moves a branch you cannot see. The world is doing its vast work without you. Your work is smaller and no less worthy. To be here with yourself, honest and gentle. To let expectations loosen their grip and become soft wishes. to meet tomorrow with responsive hands instead of clenched fists. If sleep is close, you can allow these words to fade into the rhythm of your breathing. If you're continuing your evening, carry one short sentence with you like a river stone in your pocket. I can hold my plans lightly. Say it once, feel the weight of it, and then simply live. The river will move. You will move with it. And in the moving, you will discover a peace that does not depend on controlling the water, only on learning its song. Night has settled, and the room wears it kindly. Perhaps a faint strip of moonlight lies across the floor like a silk ribbon. Perhaps the soft whir of a fan brushes the air in steady strokes. If you're seated, let the chair take more of you than usual, as if it is learning your weight. If you're lying down, feel the gentle pull of gravity along your hips and shoulders, the way the mattress receives each curve without complaint. No one needs you to perform right now. You can be a person among ordinary shadows, breathing at a human pace. Let your next inhale arrive as it wants. Let the outbreath drift a fraction longer, like the final note of a lullaby hanging in a quiet room. If the mind keeps trying to schedule, negotiate, calculate, that's okay. You can let it go on chatting like a radio in another room while your attention leans closer to the pulse of your body. The body tells simple truths. Simple truths do not argue. Tonight we'll turn toward a habit that feeds control more than most: resistance. Resistance is that inner bracing against what already is. It's the quick flinch when a plan changes, the silent no in the chest when pain arrives, the subtle tightening around a feeling you wish were different. Resistance promises safety by pushing reality away. Acceptance offers steadiness by making gentle contact with reality as it is. Acceptance isn't endorsement. It isn't saying you like what's happening. It's the doorway to wise action because you're touching the actual situation, not your imagined version. Notice where resistance lives in you right now. Maybe it's a small band of tension across the forehead. Maybe it's the belly pulled slightly in. Maybe it's a shallowness in the breath that leaves you always a sip short. You don't have to fix any of this. Just let the noticing itself be a kind hand on the shoulder. The moment you recognize resistance, something in you has already softened. Awareness is a solvent. There's a teaching story you may know, told in many forms. A man is struck by a poisoned arrow. Instead of asking for the arrow to be removed, he demands to know who shot it, from what distance, made of what wood, with which feathers, why him, whether there were witnesses. While he argues with details, the poison works. The point is not to scold curiosity. It's to show how control can delay care. When suffering is present, the first skillful move is often simple and near: remove the arrow. In our lives, that might mean drinking water before diagnosing your entire future, resting before rewriting a relationship in your head, asking for help before perfecting your request. Care first, analysis later. You can practice this in tiny ways. When a difficult email arrives, the controlling reflex is to dissect the intent, assemble a flawless reply, court imaginary judges. The acceptance move is to place a hand on your body, feel 3 slow exhales, and decide whether a response is even needed tonight. Many troubles shrink in the wash of sleep. Others are better met after a meal. The poisoned arrow story isn't telling you to be passive. It's reminding you to put kindness where it counts first. Here's a small ritual for those flare-up moments. Arrow out first, 30 to 50 seconds. If it feels right, when you feel stung by words or events, pause. You can stop anytime. Place one hand on a steady surface, your own thigh, a table, the bed. Feel its solidity. Exhale slowly and silently say, care first. Ask, what is one immediate kindness that eases harm without fixing the whole story? Drink water, step outside, stretch, ask for a hug, close the app. Do that one thing, then reassess gently. You may notice how often resistance is trying to prevent a feeling from passing through. A plan changes and the chest braces to keep disappointment out. A body twinge arrives and the mind tightens to block fear. The irony is that feelings trapped by resistance stay longer and grow louder. When you let a feeling move, even for 30 seconds, it usually changes shape. Your job is not to become emotionless. Your job is to become a safe place for emotions to visit. Let's try a simple visit. 30-second welcome, 30 to 60 seconds. If it feels right, choose one small feeling in the room with you. Restless, sad, hopeful, tired. You can pause anytime. Name it softly once or twice. Notice where it lives in the body, throat, chest, belly, eyes. Breathe around that place as if you're widening a doorway. No need to dive in, no need to fix. After 2 or 3 breaths, thank the feeling for telling the truth, and let attention return to your hands or feet. This is the opposite of control's approach. Control says, if I think hard enough, I can avoid discomfort. Acceptance says, if I meet discomfort kindly, I don't have to be afraid of it. Over time, acceptance makes you surprisingly brave because you stop burning energy against the fact that you are human. You can spend that energy on what matters most. Creativity is a playground where this shift becomes clear. Maybe you write, cook, design, parent, lead, build. The controlling mind wants guaranteed outcomes, so it avoids beginning or it smothers the first draft with critique. The accepting mind starts, lets it be imperfect, and stays in the conversation with the work. You can sense the difference in the body. Control leans forward and squints. Acceptance sits back an inch and listens. The work responds to listeners. A small practice for beginnings. 2 messy lines, 40 to 60 seconds. If it feels right when starting a task you've delayed, set a timer for 2 minutes. You can stop anytime. Promise yourself you only need to make a messy start. 2 sentences, 1 sketch, a rough outline, a single email opening. Breathe softly while you do it. When 2 minutes end, either stop with gratitude or continue if it feels right. Celebrate the start, not the polish. In uncertain times, insomnia can arrive like a late visitor. The controlling mind treats the bed as a conference table, stacked with files. Acceptance reshapes the night into a gentle waiting room. You don't have to sleep on command. You can rest. Rest is not failure. Rest is practice. If sleep doesn't come, you can give the body what it understands: warmth, dark, slowness, rhythm. The mind can wander like a child let loose in a safe yard. Often sleep sneaks in while you are no longer bargaining with it. Here's an insomnia-friendly ritual that makes no promises and keeps them. No bargain rest, 60 to 90 seconds. If it feels right when you're awake at night, lie on your side or back with a comfortable pillow. You can stop anytime. Choose one soothing loop. Feel the mattress touch points from heels to head, or silently count exhales from 1 to 8 and back to 1, or trace slow circles with breath around your ribs. If thoughts argue about tomorrow, nod to them and return to the loop. Tell yourself, rest is useful even without sleep. Continue as long as you like. Relationships also test this shift. The controlling impulse tries to manage another's feelings, script their responses, or deliver speeches that guarantee a particular outcome. Acceptance honors truth and boundary without clinging to result. You can say, I feel anxious when plans change last minute. Could we try checking in by late afternoon? You can also accept the limits of what someone can give. Then you choose proximity and investment accordingly, without punishing yourself for wanting what isn't available. This is adult love. It respects both tenderness and reality. A tiny practice for hard talks. Truth in 1 breath, 30 to 50 seconds. If it feels right before you speak, place attention on the soles of your feet. You can pause anytime. In 1 slow out breath, rehearse the simplest honest sentence you need to say, minus blame and extra explanations. Keep it short enough to fit that exhale. Inhale, feel your ribs widen. Then say it for real in that same breath length. The trio of craving, aversion, and confusion will visit even here. Craving wants guaranteed reciprocity. Aversion wants to armor up. Confusion wants to blur the issue. When you notice them, you can still proceed gently. Clear seeing doesn't require the trio to leave. It invites them to ride in the back while your wiser self drives. Workdays pile pressures that make resistance feel practical. A deadline moves closer. A teammate misses a handoff. A client adds features. Control pushes harder and narrows your view until the only options seem harsh. Acceptance widens the field enough to see additional moves. You may renegotiate scope, ask for help, drop a non-essential, or deliver a staged version. The dignity of realistic work is not smaller than the glamour of heroic fantasy. It's more reliable. You build a reputation with yourself and others for acting from reality rather than ritual panic. Try a small mid-shift calibration. Scope and breath check, 30 to 45 seconds. If it feels right when pressure spikes, stand or sit back an inch. You can stop anytime. Name aloud or silently. Original scope, current reality, essential next action. Let your exhale lengthen while you name each. Do that one action. Schedule a 5-minute review later. Return to the work, relieved of the need to solve the whole project in your head. Body wisdom has quiet requests that often clash with control's agenda. Control says power through. Acceptance listens to signals. Eyes dry, neck tight, mood thin, stomach knotted. You don't have to become a monk of perfect habits. You can respond to one signal at a time. A glass of water, a stretch, a step outside, a slower chew, a boundary around the next hour. These are not luxuries. They are what keep your instrument tuned to play your life song. Let's give your neck and jaw a moment right now. Unhook the hangers, 40 to 60 seconds. If it feels right, drop your shoulders gently as if clothing hangers are sliding off a rack. You can stop anytime. Let your lower jaw loosen and your lips part slightly. With 2 slow exhales, imagine the back of your neck widening and warming. Move your jaw side to side once. Return to stillness and notice the difference. You might wonder if acceptance makes you complacent. It does not. Acceptance is the bridge between clear seeing and wise action. It's what allows you to admit a pattern accurately, which is the only way to change it. It's what lets you say, "This job is harming my health," and then craft an exit plan. It's what lets you acknowledge, "This argument repeats because I feel unseen," and then choose to communicate earlier, with fewer words and more feeling. Control keeps you busy avoiding truth. Acceptance frees the energy that truth unlocks. There is a quiet bravery in admitting, "I cannot make this be other than it is right now." In that breath, something paradoxical happens. You become more capable. Because you're no longer wrestling the present, you can finally touch it and work with it. Like a sailor who stops cursing the wind and trims the sail, you begin to move. Let's give the present a respectful greeting. Reality handshake, 25 to 40 seconds. If it feels right, look around the room slowly. You can pause anytime. Name 3 unarguable facts: the color of the wall, the temperature on your skin, the sound nearest you. Place a hand on your chest and feel one heartbeat. Whisper, "This is what is here." Let an easy exhale follow. Then ask, "What is one kind move now?" In the larger world, acceptance helps you keep your heart open without burning out. You can read the news, contribute where you can, and still allow joy. Joy is not a betrayal of those who suffer. It's a renewable source that fuels service. Control tries to light the world with a single match and burns fingers. Acceptance learns where the lanterns are, how to keep them filled, and how to walk at night without losing the path. If grief sits with you, for the planet, for injustice, for personal losses, you don't have to banish it to function. You can give grief a seat at the table and still eat. You can say, "I see you, stay as long as you need," and then go fill the sink with warm water and wash a cup. In this way, life remains possible. In this way, you do not demand that the world become bearable before you bear it for one more hour. That is a tender kind of strength. We can practice bearing gently with a very small ceremony. Grief and warm water, 60 to 90 seconds. If it feels right, take your hands to a source of warmth, a mug, a sink with warm water, a heating pad. You can stop anytime. Feel the heat meet your skin. If grief is present, name it softly once. Say inside, you can be here while I do small good. Slowly wash 1 cup or hold the mug for 3 breaths. Let your exhale carry a strand of heaviness out of the body. Return to stillness. Control often recruits perfectionism as its deputy. Perfectionism promises invulnerability through flawlessness. Acceptance offers resilience through repair. In the real world, repair is what holds everything together: relationships, projects, routines, promises to ourselves. If you missed a day, you return today. If you snapped at someone, you apologize with specificity. If your plan failed, you pick a smaller plan. Repair is humble and sturdy, keeps you human and connected. A small repair ritual. Name the patch, 30 to 45 seconds. If it feels right, when you notice a miss, resist the urge to judge. You can pause anytime. Name exactly what needs patching. I spoke sharply. I skipped movement. I overspent on impulse. Choose one repair action: a text of apology, a 10-minute walk, a spending freeze for 48 hours. Breathe out, do the action, or schedule it. Let the story end there. If sleep is circling near you now, this is a sweet place to drift. If you're staying awake a little longer, bring your attention to the quiet architecture of your body, the ladder of your spine, the 2 doors of your lungs opening and closing, the hammock of your diaphragm, the river of blood you cannot see but can feel as warmth. This house is not perfect. It is intimate. It wants partnership, not command. Let's end with a gentle body-led practice that loosens the grip of resistance and invites acceptance to guide the night. Stone in a stream, 80 to 110 seconds. If it feels right, imagine you are a smooth stone resting in a clear stream. You can pause anytime. The water is time, events, other people's moods, the shifting weather of your mind. The stone does not chase the water or block it. It allows flow to move around and over it while it remains steady and receptive. Feel your body as that stone, the weight where you touch the bed or chair, the coolness or warmth along your skin, the patience in your bones. With each exhale, imagine letting go of one thread of effort you don't need right now. Managing tomorrow, perfecting a story, predicting outcomes. With each inhale, imagine receiving what helps: breath, warmth, safety of this room, your own company. After a minute like this, choose one sentence to keep. I can let life move and still be okay. Whisper it once. Let the stream keep flowing. You keep resting. Before we dim this part entirely, place a small kindness in tomorrow's path. Can be tiny. Set out a glass by the sink. Place your shoes where morning feet will find them. Write a single helpful word on a sticky note. Cue a gentle song. These gestures are acceptance in action. You are not punishing tomorrow's you for tonight's limits. You are tending to them. Feel again the moonlight or the memory of it. Feel the steady fan or the hush that follows when it stops. The room knows how to hold you. Your body is remembering. The mind may still try to label, rank, plan. Smile at it like a friend who talks in their sleep. You do not need to wake them. You can let them speak while you slip deeper into quiet. For now, stay with a simple truth that grows with practice. Reality is not an enemy. It is the ground where your kindness works. Let control set down its armor for the night. Let acceptance keep watch, soft and clear-eyed, until morning. The night has thinned to velvet. Maybe a faint draft slips through a cracked window and cools your cheek. Maybe the room holds the hush that comes just before dawn. Even if dawn is hours away, touch the edge of your blanket or the sleeve at your wrist. Feel the simple truth of fabric against skin. If you're seated, let your shoulders lean back a small degree, trusting the chair. If you're lying down, notice the soft give beneath your ribs and the way your breath moves the covers by a fraction. You are home inside this moment. You don't have to be impressive here. Let your inhale arrive like a quiet visitor. Let your exhale loosen its pace, as if it just remembered there's no train to catch. If thoughts rise, let them rise. You don't need to cage them or chase them. Imagine you're watching wisps of steam lift from a warm cup on a cool morning, real, visible, and fading on their own. Your job is only to remain kind and near. We've been exploring the middle way between gripping and collapsing, learning to choose care over command. Tonight, we'll look at a subtler form of control, the grip of our views. Not just opinions about politics or art, but the private maps you carry about yourself, about other people, about how life should unfold. These maps are helpful until the terrain changes. Then the map becomes a cage. There's an old image from the teachings that fits perfectly. A traveler comes to a wide river with no bridge. To cross, they gather branches and vines, tie them into a raft, and paddle with hands and feet. It's hard work, but the raft saves them. Once on the far bank, the traveler faces a choice. Hoist the raft onto their back and carry it through the forest, or place it down by the water, bow to it and continue lighter. The teaching is simple and brave. What helped you cross may weigh you down if you refuse to set it down. Methods, roles, even cherished stories can be rafts. Control says, keep carrying. Wisdom bows, thanks, and let's go. Consider the rafts you've built. Maybe being hyper-responsible helped you survive in a chaotic home. Maybe being the fixer made you valuable in a shaky team. Maybe pleasing others kept peace when you were young. These rafts worked. They deserve gratitude. But when the forest asks you to climb, a raft on your shoulders slows you and hurts your back. The loving move is to put it down. Let's bring this to the body. What does carrying a raft feel like right now? Perhaps a narrowness in the chest, a jaw that insists on being ready, a stomach that holds itself. You don't have to name the exact raft to honor the weight. Your body knows when it's hauling old gear. Offer it a small mercy. Lay down the raft breath, 30 to 50 seconds. If it feels right, imagine a weight across your shoulders. You can pause anytime. With the next slow exhale, picture sliding that weight down your arms and placing it at your feet. If you like, tilt your head slightly forward as if nodding to the old tool that helped you. Inhale without effort. On the next exhale, sense the space across your collarbones. Rest in that space for a beat. Letting go of a view doesn't mean becoming vague. It means trading tight certainty for living clarity. Tight certainty says, I know exactly how this person will act. I always fail here. The only safe path is the one I planned. Living clarity says, I recognize patterns and I'll keep my eyes open. I've stumbled before, and I'm allowed to try differently. I'll commit to values and adjust to conditions. One squeezes, the other breathes. Think of a relationship where the script feels old. Perhaps a colleague who never listens, a family member who always criticizes, a friend who disappears. These scripts started as notes to self, rafts that got you across turbulent conversations. But scripts can become self-fulfilling. We show up armored and evoke the very scene we dread. A more courageous move is to enter as if the future has not yet been written, guided by boundaries and care rather than prediction and defense. Tiny rehearsal helps. Fresh page entry, 30 to 45 seconds. If it feels right, picture the next conversation that worries you. You can skip any time. In one slow breath, let the labels slide off the other person like rain off a coat. Not to deny patterns, just to loosen them. In the next breath, name your two guides, one boundary, one value. For example, I won't accept raised voices. I will speak simply. Carry those, not the old script. Control will object. Without the script, I'll be unprotected. But notice how your body feels when you hold the script tightly. The jitter, the glare behind the eyes. This protection that costs too much. Boundary plus presence is a lighter shield. We hold views about ourselves with the same iron fingers. I'm the strong one. I'm the one who never needs help. I'm the organized one. Roles bring order until they squeeze out oxygen. What if, for a season, you practiced being the honest one instead? Or the rest when tired one? Or the ask for clarity one? Identity held lightly lets compassion in. When compassion enters, control has less convincing to do. Try on a lighter name. New name whisper, 20 to 30 seconds. If it feels right, choose one gentle identity to wear for the next day. The attentive one, the spacious one, the kind to myself one. You can stop anytime. Say it silently twice. Notice what softens. Let the exhale lengthen and place the name in your pocket. The trio we've met before. Craving, aversion, confusion, loves the comfort of fixed views. Craving wants certainty. Tell me who I am, who they are, how this ends. Aversion wants to freeze the enemy. They're always like that. Confusion wants to blur nuance, so you'll cling to simple labels. When you practice loosening views, the trio will grumble. Let them. You aren't erasing reality. You are making room for truth to move. Here's a small practice to catch the grip in real time. Label the grip, 30 to 40 seconds. If it feels right, when you hear an always or never in your head, pause. You can pause anytime. Say softly, grip. Feel your feet or hands. Replace the sentence with a truer one. Often, recently, or in this situation. Breathe once, then choose your next kind move. Work offers daily chances to set down rafts. Perhaps you lead a team and believe you must have the answer. That belief carried you across early career rivers. Now it may block growth, yours and theirs. A wiser stance is to set a frame, ask real questions, and let the room be smarter than any one person. This is not abdication. It's trust in collective clarity. When you do speak, it lands better because it isn't trying to control the whole field. Imagine walking into a planning meeting wearing the raft of, I must hold everything. Then imagine entering with, I will keep time and values, and I'll share my view as one voice. Feel the difference in your shoulders. Feel the difference in the room. A quick reset before such moments. Soft eyes scan, 25 to 40 seconds. If it feels right, widen your gaze until you notice the room's edges. You can stop anytime. Let your eyes soften as if you're looking just past things. Scan from left to right slowly, then return to center. On the exhale, release the need to have the last word. Keep the need to be clear and kind. Sometimes the raft is a method, a particular app, a routine, a form of practice that served you beautifully, now feels stale or heavy. The middle way is not loyal to tools. It is loyal to aliveness. You can change a method without betraying your discipline. If silent sitting feels brittle, try a mindful walk for a week. If long runs strain your body, try a swim or a gentle strength session. If reading news in the morning wrecks your mood, set a midday window. Control equates consistency with rigidity. Wisdom knows consistency is better kept by flexible approaches. To help you evaluate tools with kindness, try this raft test, 40 to 60 seconds. If it feels right, bring to mind one habit or tool you've been carrying. You can pause anytime. Ask 3 quiet questions. Does this still help me cross? What season was it made for? What would bowing and setting it down look like for 1 week? Choose a tiny experiment. Schedule it. Breathe out and thank the old tool. The raft story also whispers about views in conflict. Sometimes we fight not because the other person is wrong, but because we're trying to lash our raft to theirs. We fear that if we set our raft down, we'll lose ourselves. In truth, setting rafts down makes it easier to walk side by side. You're no longer arguing about boats when the path asks for feet. A modern kitchen example. You prefer tidy counters. Your partner prefers visible tools. Instead of declaring one raft superior, name the value underneath: calm for you, convenience for them. Then craft a small experiment that honors both: one clear zone, one tool rack. It's not a compromise born of resignation. It's creativity born of setting down rightness long enough to see the terrain together. When views soften, curiosity shows up. Curiosity is not control's enemy. It's control's evolution. Control says, I already know. Curiosity asks, what's true now? That question turns down the heat in a room. It also turns down the heat inside you. Your nervous system prefers real-time data to rigid scripts. A micro-practice to spark this. What's true now? 20 to 35 seconds. If it feels right, ask this question in a tense moment. You can stop anytime. Answer with one sensory fact, one feeling, and one value. For example, hands cold, a pinch of fear, I care about honesty. Exhale. Let that guide the next inch. Letting go of views can feel like losing ground. It isn't. It is trading brittle ground for living soil. Living soil shifts, gives, holds roots, and feeds growth. On living soil, you can take stands that matter without picking unnecessary fights. You can apologize without losing face. You can say, I was wrong, and become larger, not smaller. That sentence, I was wrong, is one of the most liberating in any language. Control treats it like a cliff. Wisdom recognizes it as a door. Practice opening that door gently. Permission to be wrong. 30 to 45 seconds. If it feels right, recall a small moment today when you dug in. You can skip any time. Whisper inside, I might not have seen the whole picture. Inhale. On the exhale, imagine one sentence of repair or clarity you could offer if needed. Let the body feel the relief of not having to guard a castle. Sometimes the stickiest views are about safety. If I relax, something bad will happen. If I don't think of every scenario, I'll be caught off guard. These beliefs likely formed during real hardship. The aim isn't to shame them, it's to update them. You have more skills now. You have gentler supports. You can place alarms on doors and also go to sleep. You can keep a small savings plan and also buy fresh fruit. Safety grows from layered, ordinary actions, not from constant vigilance alone. A ritual for updating. Safety. Updated. 45 to 70 seconds. If it feels right, place a hand over your heart or belly. You can stop anytime. Name 2 real dangers you protect against wisely: seatbelts, locks, backups. Then name 2 forms of support you now have that younger you did not. A friend, a skill, a routine, a therapist, a neighbor, a boundary. Breathe with that fuller picture. Let vigilance settle by a degree. This loosening of views also changes how we meet the wider world. When news breaks, the mind reaches for instant takes, for teams and villains. If you can resist being drafted into certainty's armies for a few breaths, you will see more clearly and act more usefully. Sometimes that action is a donation, sometimes a call, sometimes a conversation, sometimes rest so you can contribute tomorrow. Clarity loves context. Control loves speed. Give clarity the extra minute. A tiny pause that protects your goodness. Context first pause. 20 to 30 seconds. If it feels right, before you repost, reply, or rage, wait one exhale. You can stop anytime. Ask, will this help who I intend to help? If yes, proceed. If unsure, gather one more fact or choose a quieter kindness. Now let's bring this back to the body, because the body is where views anchor. A fixed view often tenses the eyes and throat. A softened view often widens the breath and unclenches the tongue. You can practice shifting from narrow to wide physically, training the mind by moving the face it wears. Unfurrow ritual, 30 to 50 seconds. If it feels right, smooth your forehead with 2 fingertips or imagine it softening from within. You can pause anytime. Let your eyes rest as if looking at a distant hillside. Loosen the tongue from the roof of the mouth. Exhale as if fogging a mirror softly. Notice how thought feels a notch less sharp. Continue as needed. We haven't forgotten our 3 companions. Craving, aversion, confusion. See how they behave when views soften. Craving chases confirmation. Aversion swats at difference. Confusion grows noisy when maps blur. Meet them with the responses you've learned. Presence for craving, softening for aversion, simple next step for confusion. The trio calms down when they sense a trustworthy adult is steering. Trust builds through small, kept promises. You say you'll stretch for a minute and you do. You say you'll answer with kindness once today and you do. You say you'll stop scrolling at 11 and you do, or you miss once and repair the next night. These are not grand feats. They are the quiet mortar of a steady life. Control wants the fortress finished by sunset. Wisdom lays bricks at a human pace. As the room grows even quieter, imagine placing some of your old rafts along the edge of a lake. Each one gets a nod. Hyper-responsibility, lone wolf competence, pleasing to avoid conflict, predicting to avoid surprise. They are all good boats. They carried you. You are allowed to keep one or two near for hard crossings. You are also allowed to walk without them most days, feeling your own feet, your own timing. A closing practice for tonight, tender and practical. The thank and set down, 80 to 110 seconds. If it feels right, picture one role or method you've been clenching. You can pause anytime. In your mind's eye, hold it like a folded cloth. Name 3 ways it helped you in the past. Thank it out loud or silently. Then imagine placing it on a shelf by the door. You aren't throwing it away. You're not wearing it to bed. Place your palm gently on your chest and feel 1 or 2 heartbeats. Whisper, I can move lighter now. Take a slow exhale and rest in the small expansion that follows. If sleep is close, let the edges of this practice blur and carry you. If you're staying awake, carry one sentence into the next room like a lantern. I will use the raft to cross and set it down to walk. Let that sentence accompany you through dishes, through messages, through meetings, through pauses. Feel how it changes your step. As the air shifts, cooler or still, night holding its own counsel. Remember that the deepest letting go is not abandoning care. It is siding with life as it is unfolding, not with a plan that froze last season. You are not small when you do this. You become proportionate. Strong where you can act, soft where you cannot, clear where you once clenched, kind where you once judged. Feel the blanket or sleeve again. Hear the small sounds that prove you share a world. A car far away, a pipe settling, the hush between nothing and nothing. Let your breath be ordinary. In that ordinariness, there is a wide peace. It does not need to be dramatic to be real. It does not need permission to stay. It will grow with your practice, which is nothing more and nothing less than meeting what is here with a steady, tender hand. A pale ribbon of morning slips under the curtain, just enough light to silver the edges of the room. Somewhere outside, a single bird tries out a few notes and then grows quiet again. The air is cooler near the window, warmer where the covers touch your ribs. If you are seated, let your spine find a gentle curve as if you're leaning into a trusted friend. If you are lying down, notice how the pillow holds the shape of your head, as if it has memorized you. There is no rush. The world can begin without you for a little while, and then you can choose how to join it. Let your breath lengthen by a whisper, not an effort, more like when the kettle comes just to a simmer and you turn the flame down a notch. If thoughts line up with clipboards, ready to audit the day, they can wait in the hall. You are meeting yourself first. Feel the quiet companionship of your body. Feel the calm rhythm that was here before you checked a single thing. You are not late to your own life. We have touched craving, aversion, and confusion, and we have tuned our string between too tight and too loose. Tonight, or this early hour, wherever you are, we place our hands on a second inner power that makes all the others workable. Compassion. Not a saccharine mood, not a performance of kindness. A willingness to be on your own side without needing to win. When you let go of control, a gap can appear. What will hold me if I stop squeezing? Compassion is the floor. Compassion does not ask you to like what hurts. It asks you to stop abandoning yourself when it hurts. That is all. It is fiercely practical. With compassion at your back, you can look directly at what is true and choose a wise next step. Without it, the mind grasps for control because it feels alone. You can taste this quickly. Think of a recent small failure, a message you regretted, a task you dropped, a moment of sharpness with someone you love. Notice what your inner voice does by default. If it swings a hammer, the body tightens in self-defense. and control rushes in to hide the evidence. If instead, the voice softens by a degree, I see you, I know you care, the breath comes back, the shoulders drop, and you can repair. Compassion lowers the cost of truth. When truth is cheaper, control has less work to do. Let's practice switching that voice when it matters. Compassion switch, 30 to 50 seconds. If it feels right, bring to mind one small mess from the last day. You can pause anytime. Place a hand over your sternum or on your cheek, whichever feels kinder. Say inside, I see the good intention here even if the impact was off. Let one exhale soften your face. Ask what repair lives in my hands. Do only that or rest if none is needed. Notice how this does not excuse harm. It reduces panic. Panic makes us hide. Compassion makes us honest. Honesty makes us effective. In uncertain times, effectiveness without harshness becomes one of your secret strengths. Compassion shows up beautifully in motion. When you walk, you can walk as a critic, measuring every step against a better version of you. Or you can walk as a friend who keeps pace with your actual rhythm. The critic tries to control outcomes. The friend makes space for steadiness. The body knows the difference. 10-step walking kindness, 30 to 60 seconds. If it feels right when you stand, choose to take 10 steps at a normal pace. You can stop anytime. With each step, silently pair your heel landing with a simple word. Here. At step 5, add a second word, with. At step 10, let your arms hang and breathe naturally. If you want, turn and take another 10. Keep it ordinary. Compassion for others is easier when compassion for you is not bankrupt. Trying to be endlessly generous while warring with yourself is like pouring from a cracked cup. The fix is not to stop offering water. It is to repair the cup while you pour. That repair is daily and small. It happens in the moment you choose a human pace, in the pause before you answer harshly, in the boundary that protects your nervous system so your care can last. A boundary is not control. It is the shape in which love can live. Control tries to shape other people. A boundary shapes you, says, this is what I offer. This is what I cannot. When you keep your word to yourself, compassion grows roots. Then you can let go more easily because you know you won't drop yourself. Hands warmed listening, 30 to 50 seconds. If it feels right, before a hard conversation, wrap your hands around a warm mug or rub them together until they're slightly warm. You can pause anytime. Place your warmed hands lightly on your thighs. Say inside, I will listen to understand and I will protect my line. Let one exhale lengthen. Begin. You will notice how quickly craving tries to hijack compassion. Craving wants thanks, visible results, proof that you are good. Compassion is quieter. It asks only that you keep company with suffering long enough to respond with wisdom. If praise comes, let it be honey on the bread, not the bread itself. In everyday scenes, compassion changes the texture of your day more than any dramatic ritual. You wake to a messy kitchen and a stretched schedule. Control says, who failed here? Compassion says, we're tired. What would help in the next 15 minutes? You pick the few dishes that enable breakfast. You leave the rest for the afternoon. You make a simple plan without punishing anyone. This is not mediocrity. It is intelligent love. It frees the energy to show up where you're most needed instead of spending it on blame. Let's plant a small act that tilts the morning toward mercy. Threshold blessing, 20 to 40 seconds. If it feels right, choose one doorway in your home. You can skip any time. Each time you pass through it today, whisper a short blessing to whoever you'll meet next, including yourself. May we be gentle. May we be clear. No performance, just breath and a quiet wish. Then carry on. Control often insists on immediate closure. Compassion can abide unfinishedness without going numb. Many problems in our lives are not puzzles to solve but landscapes to inhabit with care. A chronic condition, a relative's personality, a long project, the climate of a company. When you treat landscapes like puzzles, you live in perpetual agitation. When you treat them as places to bring water, shade, and steady footsteps, you start to belong to your life again. This belonging shows up in your hands. The same hands that scroll can also soothe. The same fingers that tighten can also place an orange on a plate, stroke a loved one's hair, smooth the sheet, wash your own face as if it were a sacred object. When your hands move kindly, your thoughts tend to follow. Glimmer hunt, 20 to 40 seconds. If it feels right, once this hour, look for one small glimmer. A color, a texture, a sound. That gives your body a yes. You can pause anytime. Let your eyes or ears rest there for 2 breaths. Whisper thank you, then continue. Compassion paired with clear seeing is different from indulgence. Indulgence collapses standards. Compassion keeps standards and drops the whip. You still keep your word. You just stop using fear as the only fuel. Fear burns fast and leaves smoke. Compassion burns slow and warms a room. You can test your fuel at work. Imagine 2 versions of finishing a task. Version 1. You flog yourself to the finish line. Eyes narrowed, breath shallow. Rage cleaning your inbox at midnight. Version 2. You define good enough, work in humane sprints, pause to stretch, and end with a small bow. The first may produce a quick burst, but it costs. The second repeats. Repetition is how lives change. Gentle spine reset, 20 to 35 seconds. If it feels right, at the end of a work block, stand or sit and roll your shoulders once forward, once back. You can stop anytime. Let your spine grow 1 grain taller on the exhale. Say inside, enough for now. Then close the tab or set the tool down. Compassion also opens a door to forgiveness, which is another way of letting go. Forgiveness does not mean pretending harm didn't happen. It means releasing the wish for a different past in favor of shaping the present. Sometimes the person you forgive is yourself. Sometimes it's someone who cannot or will not meet you where you hoped. Forgiveness can be quiet and private. It does not require a ceremony or contact. It requires a softening of fists that have held air for too long. 3-beat release, 30 to 45 seconds. If it feels right, bring to mind one old tightness you're ready to loosen by 1 notch. You can pause anytime. On the first breath, say inside, it happened. On the second, I survived. On the third, I release 1 thread today. You don't have to feel anything. Just say it. Let your hands soften. Parenting of children, teams, projects, yourself becomes gentler under compassion's light. You move from managing behavior to growing conditions. You praise specifics instead of identities because specifics can be repeated and identities have to be defended. You notice effort, name care, model repair. The result is less drama, more trust. Trust makes control less tempting. Small repair letter, 40 to 60 seconds. If it feels right, think of someone you were short with today. You can stop anytime. Draft 1 2-sentence note in your head or on paper. Name your action without excuses. Name what you'll try next time. Send later or keep it as practice. Feel how your chest loosens when you own your side. Compassion for strangers might feel like a luxury in a packed day. It is not. It is a stealth tool against confusion. When you assume complexity in others rather than malice, your nervous system stays steadier. You waste less energy building cases. You keep more bandwidth for choices that matter. The empty boat story returns. Even when someone's boat is full and clumsy, treating it as empty for a breath protects your body. Then you can set a boundary from calm rather than from flame. There is a subtle courage in being kind first. Control hears first and panics. Do I have to be kind forever? No. Kind first simply means you begin with clarity and respect. And if a firmer line is needed, you set it without poison. This too is how we let go. Not by pretending harm is impossible, but by refusing to harm ourselves on the way to protecting ourselves. Compassion changes how you end a day. Control wants to audit, tally, judge. Compassion harvests. It asks what grew, what needs water tomorrow, what can fall back to the earth. Harvesting is slower than auditing and far more nourishing. It puts your attention on process and relationship rather than on perfection. That attention shapes your nervous system for sleep. Harvest 3, 40 to 60 seconds. If it feels right before bed or before you switch tasks, name 3 harvests. 1 effort you made, 1 moment of care you offered or received, 1 thing you can release until tomorrow. You can pause anytime. Let your face soften as you name each. Then turn the page. We have not forgotten the trio. Craving will visit compassion and try to purchase it. If I am kind, I must get a result. Aversion will say, kindness is weakness. Confusion will mutter, none of this changes anything. Let each speak, and do not hire them as your advisors. Compassion is not bargaining, not weakness, not futility. It is the steadying warmth that allows clear seeing to do its work and letting go to be safe. If you are listening near sleep, you might feel a heaviness in your limbs now, a pleasant gravity. If you are awake, you might feel a little more room in your chest. Either way, you can carry one small sentence like a smooth stone. I do not have to hurt myself to help myself. Say it once. Let it sink. Let it change the next inch, not the whole day. The whole day will take care of itself through inches. One more practice to lay along your threshold into tomorrow. Kind start, clear start, 50 to 80 seconds. If it feels right, picture the first 5 minutes of your next morning. You can pause anytime. Choose 1 kind act for your body, water, stretch, 2 slow breaths by the window. Choose 1 clear act for your mind. Write the single most important task on a small card. Promise yourself to do the kind act before touching the card, and the clear act before opening feeds. Whisper, I can begin without gripping. Then let the image fade. Feel the quiet now, the early light or the late hush or the memory of both. The room has not asked you to deserve this rest. It offers it again and again until you remember that receiving is part of giving. Control loosens when you feel held by something steadier than a plan, held by breath, by the kindness you can generate, by the ordinary miracle of being here at all. Lay 1 palm on your heart or your ribs for a final moment. Sense the pulse or the simple rise and fall. Let your mouth soften. Let the eyes be easy. You are allowed to take the gentlest route that still honors what matters. Often, that route is the one compassion points to, even when the mind rolls its eyes. Follow it anyway, just for this evening, just for the next room, just for the next breath. See how the world answers. Afternoon light rests on the wall like warm cloth, or if it is night where you are, imagine that same light in memory, soft, gold, unhurried. Perhaps a breeze lifts the corner of a curtain. Perhaps the room is steady and still, a held breath that never strains. If you're seated, let your hips feel heavier in the chair, as if roots are growing from your bones into the floor. If you're lying down, notice the broad support beneath your back and the easy way your ribs widen when air arrives. Nothing needs to be proven here. You can be a person with a pulse, with a history, with hope. That is enough. Let your next inhale be honest rather than deep. Let your exhale lengthen a notch, as if you are setting a cup back onto a saucer without a sound. If your mind wants to manage, you don't need to scold it. Just give it company the way you would keep a small child close at a street corner, 1 gentle hand around a restless wrist. We are going to look at 3 familiar traps together, and we are going to meet them like grown-ups who don't need to bully themselves to be brave. Craving, aversion, confusion, we've named them already. Tonight, let's turn them in our hands like smooth stones and see where the light catches. Not enemies, not sins, not labels to pin on your chest. Whether habits, old alarms, each one carries a misunderstood gift. When you see the gift, the trap loosens. When the trap loosens, control has less to guard. Craving first. Craving is the nervous system's way of asking for relief by reaching outward. It says, if only, then I'll be okay. If only I had their approval. If only the number in the account were higher. If only this body looked like that photo. If only the news would stabilize. Craving points, always, to a beautiful longing, to feel safe, loved, at ease, alive. That longing is not the problem. The problem is thinking the feeling must be purchased from outside and delivered instantly, like a package you can track. This creates a loop. Reach, grasp, brief relief, hunger again. The reframe is simple and tender. What craving wants is intimacy, and intimacy grows from attention. You can begin feeding the longing from the inside while still seeking wise support from the world. Approval tastes better when you are not starving for it. Money is used more kindly when your nervous system already trusts that you will care for it and for yourself. Bodies respond to loving routines better than to disgust. This is not a lecture. It is physics of the heart. Practice for craving. Feed the right hunger, 45 to 70 seconds. If it feels right when you notice a strong, if only, pause, you can stop anytime. Ask, what is the feeling underneath this want? Name it softly, safe, seen, rested, free, alive. Offer a small dose now. A slower exhale, a hand on the chest, a step outside, a message to a friend, 5 minutes with a book, a glass of water. Then decide one wise action toward the outer goal. 2 threads woven. Inner nourishment, outer step. You will notice how your body reacts. When you feed the right hunger, urgency drops and choices refine. You still take action, but the action is less frantic and more skillful. Craving loses its siren voice and becomes honest desire. Now aversion. Aversion is the push against the unpleasant. It swats, flinches, scrolls away, mutters, "Not this." Aversion is trying to protect you from pain, and that is kind. But it often does so by adding a second layer of suffering, irritation about discomfort, contempt about fear, resentment about other people's humanity. The reframe: aversion is a boundary that forgot it could be calm. When you remember that boundaries can be clear and low drama, aversion relaxes into discernment. Practice for aversion. Soft shield, 40 to 60 seconds. If it feels right when something grates, a comment, a sound, a habit, notice the first flinch. You can pause anytime. Breathe out and imagine a soft shield around you, not a wall, more like light fabric. Say inside, I can be clear without heat. If action is needed, choose a simple sentence or a simple move. If no action is needed, feel your feet and let the moment pass. With a soft shield, you conserve energy. You are still allowed to say no, to walk away, to ask for change. You simply stop paying the extra tax of internal violence. This keeps your nervous system from rehearsing battles it doesn't need to fight. And confusion. Confusion is the fog that falls when the map and the terrain disagree. It appears as indecision, numbness, I don't know, scattered focus, and exhaustion. We often attack confusion with more thinking, as if louder thinking will clear the sky. The reframe. Confusion is a request for a smaller frame and a kinder pace. When you shrink the problem to one next action and slow the body by a breath, the fog often thins enough to move. You don't need to see the highway. You only need to see the next lane marker. Practice for confusion. 1 lane marker, 30 to 50 seconds. If it feels right when foggy, choose the tiniest visible step that honors a value. You can stop anytime. Say it aloud if that helps. Fill the glass. Open the dock. Put shoes on. Write 1 sentence. Do just that. Then reassess. Fog clears by inches. Let's place the 3 together inside one everyday scene. The glowing rectangle in your hand. You pick up the phone. Craving wants connection or novelty. Aversion wants to avoid a feeling. Confusion wants relief from decision. If you meet the trio unconsciously, you can lose an hour and your mood. If you meet them consciously, the same device becomes a tool. Pocket check ritual, 40 to 60 seconds. If it feels right each time you unlock the screen, name which guest is visiting, craving, aversion, or confusion. You can pause anytime. Pair it with 1 caring gesture. Exhale, soften jaw, feel feet. Then name the purpose, message X, Check why, set a timer, and do only that. Lock. If you drift, no scolding. Simply repeat. The aim is not purity. The aim is to build trust with yourself. Trust lowers the need to control because you are no longer afraid you'll abandon your own values when life wobbles. You become reliable in your own eyes, and the body finally rests. A brief story to tuck in your pocket. A farmer has a horse that runs away. Neighbors say, "What bad luck?" The farmer says, "Maybe." The next day, the horse returns with 2 wild horses. "What good luck?" "Maybe." The farmer's son tries to ride one and breaks his leg. "What bad luck?" "Maybe." The army comes to conscript young men and passes the son by. "What good luck?" "Maybe." This simple tale isn't asking you to deny pain or joy. It invites you to loosen the grip of early conclusions. Craving wants to freeze good. Aversion wants to freeze bad. Confusion wants to freeze uncertainty. The farmer lives with maybe, a word that leaves the door open for wiser action and for surprise. Practice for maybe. Door left ajar, 20 to 35 seconds. If it feels right when you label an event quickly, disaster, miracle, add for now or maybe to the sentence. You can stop anytime. Feel how the body shifts when the door is left ajar. Then return to the next kind step. Let's walk through 3 rooms of daily life and reframe our trio inside each. Room 1, work. A deadline moves closer. Craving reaches for praise or relief. Aversion snarls at the ask. Confusion muddles the plan. Your reframe. Praise is sweet but not fuel. The ask is data. The plan needs a smaller grid. Work grid reset, 50 to 80 seconds. If it feels right, draw a mental 2x2 grid. Importance high/low, effort high/low. You can pause anytime. Place tasks quickly without perfection. Pick one high importance, reasonable effort task. Set a humane block 20 to 50 minutes. Begin with a breath. End with a bow. Review once, then stop. Let craving have a kind word. Aversion a stretch, confusion a single next box. Room 2, relationships. A text lands with a tone you don't love. Craving wants reassurance. Aversion wants to clap back. Confusion wants to freeze. The reframe. You can ask for clarity without accusation, and you can wait 1 hour. Kind clarity template, 30 to 50 seconds. If it feels right, draft 1 sentence that names the effect and asks for intent. When I read this, I felt tense. Is that what you meant? You can pause anytime. Send or wait. Pair waiting with care. A walk, a sip, a glance at the sky. Room 3, body. You wake tired. Craving wants coffee and a miracle. Aversion wants to push through or hide. Confusion wants to abandon plans. The reframe. Tend the instrument, then play a simpler song. Instrument first, 40 to 60 seconds. If it feels right, do 3 quick tendings. Water, light on your face, gentle movement of spine or hips. You can stop anytime. Then pick 1 small, meaningful action for the day. Protect it. Let the rest scale to your actual energy. You may notice how much of letting go is about renaming moments. Rename a failure as feedback, a delay as a buffer, a no as a boundary, a pause as a practice. Language is a steering wheel inside the nervous system. Harsh names tighten. True names soften. Soft doesn't mean weak. It means responsive. We can also reframe the trio by locating them in the body rather than only in thought. Craving often narrows the eyes and leans the head forward, chin high, breath in the upper chest. The body seems to say, reach, reach, reach. The counter move is to widen the gaze and let the chin soften. Aversion often clenches the jaw, pulls the shoulders toward the ears, and holds the breath. The counter move is to drop the shoulders, part the lips, and feel the exhale end. Confusion often fogs the forehead, collapses posture, and scatters the gaze. The counter move is to sit up a bit, pick 1 object, and let the eyes rest until the breath sinks. Body reframe trio. 60 to 90 seconds. If it feels right, scan for which posture you're wearing now, reach, clench, or fog. You can pause anytime. Apply the counter move. Widen and soften. Drop and part. Sit up and rest eyes. Take 2 ordinary breaths. Proceed. Sometimes the traps braid together. You might crave a perfect outcome, feel aversion to the current mess, and get confused about where to start. All in the same minute. That's okay. You don't need a perfect diagnosis. You need a kind foothold. Any one of the practices above offers it. Choose one. The others will loosen. Let's visit the pantry of your day and stock it with reframes you can reach for quickly. Instead of, I have to, try I choose to or I'm allowed to. Instead of, I can't mess this up, try I can care and repair. Instead of they always, try often, lately, or today. Instead of it's all on me, try here is my part. Instead of I don't know, try I'll know the next inch. Speak these quietly. They're not slogans, they're keys. Each unlocks a door the trio would prefer remains stuck. A moment for money, because uncertainty often pokes that nest. Craving says, more will finally calm me. Aversion says, I don't want to look. Confusion says, it's too complex. The reframe, money is a relationship. You don't need to love it or hate it. You can treat it like a garden you visit regularly. Look, water, weed, harvest. A small weekly ritual becomes a promise kept, and promises kept reduce fear. 7-minute money tea, 80 to 100 seconds. If it feels right, once a week, make a warm drink and set a timer for 7 minutes. You can stop anytime. Open one account or one spreadsheet. Name 3 facts without judgment. Balance is X. Bill due on Y. Spending heavier in Z. Choose one tiny action. Move $10, schedule a payment, set a reminder, write one question to ask someone wise. When the timer ends, close it with a bow. You didn't solve money. You befriended it by an inch. Let's touch on change. Big change wakes up all 3 traps. Craving longs for the old comfort or the new certainty. Aversion resists the process. Confusion fogs the road. The reframe, change asks for ritual, not control. Create small markers. A first morning walk in a new place. A goodbye note to a former season. A candle lit before a hard call. Ritual gives the body a story it can hold onto while the mind negotiates. Threshold stone, 40 to 60 seconds. If it feels right, choose a small object, a pebble, a coin, a bead. You can pause anytime. Each time you cross a threshold related to the change, door, login, meeting, touch the stone and breathe once. Whisper, crossing. The body learns you can cross without gripping. Perhaps you are thinking of a particular knot, a conversation you keep avoiding, a habit that keeps looping. Notice which trap is loudest around it. Craving a perfect outcome? Aversion to the discomfort? Confusion about where to begin? Lay the knot between you and me on the table of this quiet room. We won't solve the whole rope tonight. We will loosen one loop. Knot loosening start, 60 to 90 seconds. If it feels right, write or whisper one sentence that describes the knot in plain terms, no drama. You can stop anytime. Add one value you want to keep in view. Choose one microstep that honors that value in the next 24 hours. Ask for a time to talk. Move the tempting app off the home screen. Tell a friend the truth. Draft an opening paragraph. Schedule the step. Bow to the knot, not as an enemy but as a teacher. Feel one long exhale. You will forget all this sometimes. Of course you will. The trio is centuries old. Your practice is a tender sapling. When you forget, the reframe is not, I failed. It's, I'm alive. Begin again where your feet are. The sapling grows by small, regular light, not by scolding the tree. If sleep is near, let the room grow even softer. If you are continuing your evening or stepping into your day, carry one sentence that weaves the reframes into a single thread. I will feed the right hunger, set a soft shield, and take the next visible step. Say it once. Feel how it lands in your chest. It isn't a contract with the universe. It's a promise to your own nervous system. A promise like that is how letting go becomes safe, how uncertainty becomes a place you can live with dignity, how control retires from its second job and you return to your first, being fully here. Before we close, place a hand on something steady. The table, your thigh, the bed frame. Feel that steadiness borrowed into your palm. Breathe one quiet breath. Whatever the trio brings next, you have ways to meet it. Not perfectly, but humanly. Human is enough. The air tonight is crisp and clean, the kind that makes sound travel farther. Maybe you hear a distant train or a motorcycle fading down a road you can't see. Maybe there's only the hush between breaths and the soft friction of fabric as you settle. If you're sitting up, let your back lean into support until you feel the chair accept you. If you're lying down, notice how your shoulder blades widen, the way the bedding molds to the curve of your hips. Let there be a little more weight in your bones than before. Weight is permission. Let your breathing unfold like a page turned slowly. The inhale arrives, you do not have to summon it. The exhale leaves, you do not have to chase it. If the mind is busy rerunning the day in little scenes, allow it to play for a moment, then let the projector's light dim. You are not here to judge the film. You are here to befriend the one watching. Tonight we turn toward a power that makes letting go feel safe, and toward a truth that makes letting go feel possible. The power is compassion, practical, steady, non-dramatic kindness. The truth is identity held lightly, the recognition that you are more than any single role, mood, job, diagnosis, history, or story your mind tells at midnight. Together, these shift how you move through uncertainty. Compassion gives you a soft ground to stand on. Light identity loosens your grip on how things must be. Start with the body, because compassion that doesn't reach your tissues is just a nice idea. If it feels right, sense your cheeks from the inside. Notice the tiny muscles that work all day to display acceptable expressions. Let them melt a little. Feel your hands. These hands do so much. Let one palm rest where your heart beats. There is a mammal-to-mammal comfort in this simple arrangement, warmth meeting warmth. If it helps, whisper inside, I'm here. Not a promise to fix everything. Promise not to leave yourself alone. Compassion is not a mood. It is a behavior. You can treat yourself kindly whether or not you like yourself at this moment. You can speak to yourself as if you were someone you love who is having an ordinary hard day. You can decline to run internal commentary that you would never say to a friend. This is not indulgence. It is maintenance. A mind that trusts your kindness stops trying to control every variable in the world to feel safe. A small practice to make this concrete. Inner friend chair, 40 to 60 seconds. If it feels right, picture an empty chair beside you. You can pause anytime. Imagine someone you love sitting there looking exactly like you look right now. Tired, tense, or quiet. In one slow exhale, say the single sentence you would say to them. I'm with you, or you did your best today, or let's rest. We can try again. Feel how that sentence lands. Then offer it to yourself in the same tone. When you practice like this, craving loses some of its urgency. It no longer has to chase praise to feel acceptable. Aversion softens because there's less to push against. Confusion thins because you're not fighting yourself while trying to see. Compassion clears the inner windshield. Identity held lightly is not a spiritual trick. It is how you free your hands. Imagine your roles as jackets on pegs by the door. Worker, parent, partner, friend, artist, caregiver, healer, seeker, neighbor. Jackets are useful. They protect you from weather. But sleeping in a jacket is uncomfortable, and showering in a jacket is absurd. Many of us never take our jackets off. We believe we must be the reliable one or the clever one or the strong one around the clock. Control arrives to guard these jackets against any wrinkle. When you remember you can hang them by the door, you walk through rooms with more ease. Try it gently now. Name tag peel, 30 to 50 seconds. If it feels right, imagine you're wearing a sticky name tag with your most persistent identity word: fixer, achiever, peacemaker, survivor. You can skip any time. In your mind, peel it off slowly. Place it on the table nearby. Whisper, "Thank you for your service. I will wear you when needed, not always." Breathe once with your chest a little wider. You have not erased who you are. You have stopped confusing costumes with skin. From here, you respond to the room in front of you rather than to the image you're trying to protect. A short story to carry this home. A woman once asked a teacher how to find peace. She expected instructions for a new, better self. The teacher handed her a broom and pointed to leaves collecting on a simple step. She swept, then more leaves fell and she frowned. The teacher smiled. Peace was not becoming someone else. It was sweeping as the one you are, with the leaves that exist again and again, without making the falling leaves into a personal failing. The self that needed to be proven quieted. The self that could sweep remained. Identity held lightly makes room for the action that matters. Now, let's walk through everyday rooms and let compassion and light identity do their quiet work. In a kitchen at 7 p.m., you burn the onions while answering a text. Old identity says, "I'm the competent one. Mistakes are unacceptable." Old control says, "Fix the meal perfectly and the mood instantly." Compassion says, "Turn off the heat. Open a window. Sip water. Start again simpler." Light identity says, "Tonight I am the begin again person." You plate toast and eggs with a little fruit. Someone laughs. The evening is saved by gentleness, not by performance. Micro-practice to tuck near a stove or a screen. Begin again, bow, 20 to 35 seconds. If it feels right, when you catch a slip, lower your chin a millimeter like a small bow. You can pause anytime. Say inside, begin again. Make the next right, smaller move. Let the exhale lengthen. At work, you might carry the "I must know" jacket. Can be useful. Can also make you brittle. Light identity lets you become the "I will learn" person without losing face. Compassion makes that shift feel safe enough. Try this scene. A teammate asks a question you can't answer. Old habit tightens your throat. New practice loosens your tongue from the roof of your mouth and sets your eyes gently wider. You say, "I don't know yet. Give me an hour and I'll get you a solid direction." That hour is not a secret panic room. It's a humane container. You look up two things, ask one person, and return. Trust grows not from perfection but from repair and clarity. Micro-practice before meetings. Warm back imagery, 30 to 45 seconds. If it feels right, visualize a warm hand between your shoulder blades. You can stop anytime. That hand is your own compassion, steadying you. On the exhale, imagine it saying, "You can be honest and still be safe." Enter the conversation on that warmth. Identity can be sticky in relationships. Maybe you are the one who always smooths conflict, or the one who keeps everyone on time, or the one who swallows needs. Compassion says your needs count, too. Light identity says, you can be the boundary setter tonight without betraying your kindness. When you ask for a change, you're asking on behalf of the relationship, not just your comfort. This is not control. This is care that includes you. A script you can try in one breath. One breath need, 30 to 50 seconds. If it feels right, pick one small need. You can pause anytime. In one exhale, say, "I care about us, and I need X to stay open-hearted." Keep it simple. Let silence follow. Then listen. If the answer is no, compassion helps you stay kind to yourself while choosing your next boundary. Online, identity can shrink to a brand. Compassion returns you to a person. Try this, you receive a sharp comment. The reflex is to defend the brand of you. Instead, place the phone down, feel your feet, and become human again. Ask, what would I say if this person were in my kitchen? Often the answer is either a simple clarification or nothing. The need to control strangers decreases when yourself is not a billboard. A steady nightly practice to retrain identity and grow compassion. 3-breath loving kindness, 50 to 80 seconds. If it feels right before sleep, offer 3 short wishes. You can stop anytime. First breath, for yourself. May I move gently through this life. Second breath, for someone you love. May you be safe and at ease. Third breath, for a difficult person or situation. May we find a wise way. No need to feel anything special. The repetition is the medicine. Compassion does not mean saying yes to everything. Sometimes the kindest act is the boundary that keeps you from resentment. Identity held lightly lets you say no without making it who you are forever. I'm not the no person. I'm a person who says no right now to protect what matters. When you protect your capacity, you reduce the later temptation to control others for stealing it. Here is a small way to practice this before the calendar fills. Capacity check white space, 40 to 60 seconds. If it feels right, look at the next week and leave 10% of each day empty. You can pause anytime. Label the space breathing room. When a request appears, check that space before answering. If it helps, say, let me check and get back to you. Compassion toward future you is still compassion. There is a deeper layer to light identity that you can visit without metaphysics. Notice the silence under your thoughts, the space behind your eyes, the open field in which sensations come and go. That field is not anxious about its contents. Waves move, the ocean remains. When you feel yourself shrinking to a roll, touch that field by touching the senses. Feel the cool at the tip of your nose, the warmth at your throat, the contact under your heel. Now relocate yourself from the roll to the field. Roles will still be played. They will not be prisons. A tiny practice to help this shift. Field reminder, 30 to 45 seconds. If it feels right, choose one anchor sensation. Breath at nostrils, weight in hands, sound in the room. You can stop anytime. When you feel trapped in a role, return to that anchor for 2 breaths and whisper, bigger than this costume. Then continue. Compassion also transforms regret. Control tries to undo the past by replaying it. Compassion lets you touch regret just enough to harvest its teaching. Light identity allows you to do repair without becoming the person who always messes up. You become the person who repairs quickly. That identity is worth wearing. A repair ritual. Small stone apology, 50 to 70 seconds. If it feels right, pick up an imaginary small stone and hold it in your hand. You can skip any time. Name your specific action without self-attack. On the exhale, imagine placing the stone in the other person's hand with one concise apology and one intention for next time. If you will not speak to them, place it in a small dish by the door of your imagination. Feel your shoulders drop a notch. There will be days when compassion feels far away. On those days, borrow it from nature. Lean against a wall warmed by sun. Put your hands under warm water. Stand where you can feel a breeze. Let the body understand kindness directly. Identity lightens in rooms where the body has received kindness. The mind follows the body's lead more than we admit. A practice for borrowing from the world. Kindness intake, 40 to 60 seconds. If it feels right, put your face near a window or open door. You can pause anytime. For 2 breaths, take in the world like nourishment, light, air, faint sounds. Say inside, I can let this help. Turn back with a little more room. You might worry that if you loosen identity, you'll lose drive. In practice, the opposite happens. When you're not guarding a fragile image, you can take better risks. You can draft the book chapter and throw it out if it isn't good. You can ask the question in the meeting. You can text the friend first. Your worth is not on trial, your experiment is. A way to build this muscle. Tiny courage reps, 60 to 90 seconds. If it feels right, choose one daily 5-second act that stretches you kindly. Ask for clarification. Share a small truth. Leave one dish in the sink and rest. Hit publish on the helpful post. You can stop anytime. Before you do it, feel your feet. After, place one hand on your chest and say, "That counted." Courage grows when noticed. When compassion deepens and identity lightens, you will meet craving, aversion, and confusion differently. Craving becomes a signal to give yourself tenderness and to take one clear step without bargaining for love. Aversion becomes a signal to set a boundary without poison. Confusion becomes a signal to shrink the frame and move 1 inch kindly. You still plan, still strive, still care. But your nervous system is no longer trying to control the river with a teacup. You are working with the current you're in. As evening leans closer, let's sew these threads into a quiet ritual you can keep. Self-to-self blessing, 80 to 110 seconds. If it feels right, sit or lie comfortably. You can pause anytime. Place one palm over the place that feels most human tonight. Chest, belly, throat. With the inhale, think of the part of you that drives and protects. With the exhale, think of the part that rests and receives. On the next breath, imagine the two shaking hands and agreeing to share the day. I will aim and I will soften. I will act and I will release. Whisper once, I am not only what I do. Feel the body receive that sentence. Let the breath take it in and let it go. Before we close this part, look around your room in a slow circle. Notice one object that holds a story, a gift, a photo, a plant that survived neglect. Let it remind you that your life is not a resume. It is a web of small kindnesses and kept promises. Control is not what built that web. Care did. Care will keep building it. If sleep is near, let your body tilt toward it. If you are still awake, choose one identity to hang by the door for the night. The achiever, the fixer, the strong one, and let a gentler one keep watch, the listener, the sleeper, the tender custodian of breath. Tomorrow, roles will be waiting like coats. You will choose the right ones for the weather. Tonight, be the one who trusts the dark to do some of the healing. Carry one sentence into the hush. I can be kind to the one who is changing. Say it once and let it ring like a soft bell. You do not need to catch the echo. The bell knows what to do. Night has settled fully. The window is a quiet square. The world outside reduced to a few sounds. A car passing far away. The steady hush of air through a vent. Maybe crickets if you are lucky. The pillow shapes itself to you. A thin draft brushes your forearm and then is gone. If you're sitting, let the chair cradle your weight a little more. If you're lying down, feel how the mattress answers back with its soft, reliable push. Your body knows this hour. It remembers how to slow. Let the breath arrive as it wishes. Let the exhale wander longer by a grain, like a candle flame tipping in a gentle wind and then holding steady again. If your mind keeps producing headlines and checklists, you don't have to argue. You can let it stack its papers while your attention sits beside your heartbeat, unhurried. This last stretch is for gathering the threads we've laid and weaving them into something you can carry forward. Not a rigid plan, but a warm scarf for uncertain weather. You have practiced so much already. The string not too tight, not too loose. The baskets of what's beyond you, what you can influence, what lives in your hands. The empty boat that keeps your nervous system from catching fire. The raft you can thank and set down. The small rituals that reset your day without drama. The three companions, craving, aversion, confusion, that you can greet without surrendering the keys. The powers of compassion and clear seeing that make letting go feel human rather than heroic. Tonight, we let these become muscle memory. Begin with your body. It is the simplest door. Weighted quilt, 40 to 60 seconds. If it feels right, imagine a light quilt of ease lowering over you from shoulders to toes. You can pause anytime. It doesn't pin you. It comforts you. Under the quilt, feel 3 places where the bed or chair meets you: shoulder blade, hip, heel. Let each contact be a soft anchor. With one longer exhale, whisper inside, safe enough for now. Then let the breath return to its ordinary rhythm. Letting go of control is not a single decision. It is a way of greeting each hour. Tonight you can bless the way you greeted this day, imperfectly, earnestly, with as much care as you could gather. Not every moment was elegant. No moment needed to be perfect to be real. What mattered was the way you returned when you wandered, the way you set something down when you noticed it wasn't yours, the way you tuned your string again and again. We'll gather the day gently, harvest what helps, and lay the rest on a shelf. Lanterns of the day, 60 to 90 seconds. If it feels right, recall 3 times today when you touched steadiness, however small. A slower sip, a kinder reply, a pause at the doorway. You can skip or stop anytime. Place each memory like a lantern along an evening path. See them glimmer. After the third, name one moment that still stings. Place it in a bowl between the lanterns. Say inside, I will meet you tomorrow with kinder hands. Feel a softer breath arrive. If regret visits, let it sit at the edge of the bed. You do not need to hand it the microphone. Compassion lowers its voice to a human volume. Identity held lightly keeps it from narrating your worth. Clear-seeing asks what repair lives in your hands. And if none tonight, sleep is allowed to take the first shift. There's a quiet story, not miracle, just human, that belongs here. On the night before his great insight, the teacher sat beneath a tree, not to force awakening, but to stay with himself. When old habits came to taunt him, he didn't shout them down. He placed his hand on the earth. In simple language, he touched what was real. Ground, breath, sky, this body, this moment. The point is not the myth. It's the gesture. When the mind fills with argument, touching what is here can end the trial. You don't need the whole cosmos to witness you. The floor under your feet is enough. Earth touch, 30 to 50 seconds. If it feels right, let a hand slip to the bedside or rest on your thigh. You can pause anytime. Feel the cool or warmth, the texture. Whisper here. On the next exhale, let your jaw soften. No grand promise, just contact. You may feel the trio circling even now. Craving says, make tomorrow certain. Aversion says, don't let anything uncomfortable return. Confusion says, this is all too much. Think later. Meet each with the countermoves you've learned. Feed the right hunger with presence. Set a soft shield instead of bracing. Shrink the frame to the next true inch. If you have the energy, choose one kindness for tomorrow's you. If you don't, choosing rest is the kindness. Tomorrow's stone, 40 to 60 seconds. If it feels right, name one small act you will place in tomorrow's path. Fill the bottle, send the note, take a 10-minute walk, step outside before screens. You can stop anytime. Imagine placing a smooth stone with that act written on it at the doorway of the morning. See it there. Exhale and let it be enough. We can honor the house of your body once more before sleep, moving slowly, like turning off lamps in friendly rooms. Lamp by lamp ease, 90 to 120 seconds. If it feels right, bring attention to your toes. You can pause or skip anytime. Imagine a small lamp turning off there. Toes dim, then ankles, then calves. Each switch is an exhale. Knees, thighs, hips, pelvis, belly softening like warm sand. Lower back, middle back, the space between your shoulder blades. Fingers, palms, forearms, elbows. Upper arms, shoulders lowering a fraction. Throat, jaw, cheeks, eyes, forehead, scalp. Finally, the lamp at the center of the chest goes from bright to ember. Not gone, just quiet. Stay with that ember for 2 gentle breaths. Notice if the mind argues for one more thought. Minds do that. You can nod the way you nod at a child asking for water because they do not want to sleep. Offer one sip, a single sentence of reassurance, then tuck the mind in again. Tuck in sentence, 20 to 30 seconds. If it feels right, say inside, we'll think tomorrow. Now we rest. You can stop anytime. Feel the next exhale like a soft sheet being pulled up. In uncertain times, rest is not withdrawal. It is preparation. Sleep gathers what you cannot by effort alone. It organizes, heals, and softens your grip by means you don't have to understand. Your job is to offer conditions. A body that knows it is allowed to settle, a room that doesn't demand performance, a few practices that whisper safety in a language deeper than words. Before we drift, we'll touch 3 truths that can accompany you long after this night. First, you are not late to your life. Whatever age you are, whatever season, the next wise inch is available. Control will tell you that the missed path is a sentence. Wisdom says every breath is a gate. Gates do not shout. They wait. You are allowed to walk through. Second, belonging does not depend on perfection. The mustard seed of grief that proved every house has its sorrow also proves every house has its love. When you practice gentleness with your own nervous system, you join an invisible lineage of people trying to live kindly in a complex world. You belong to them. They belong to you. Third, release is not the end of care. When you set down what is not yours, you can finally carry what is. Attention, honesty, repair, presence, the next helpful act. The world needs that more than it needs your panic. If you want a final ritual to bookend this journey, we can plant one that is both simple and durable. 3 inner bows, 60 to 90 seconds. If it feels right, bring attention to 3 centers: the head for clear seeing, the heart for compassion, the belly for letting go. You can pause anytime. With 1 easy breath, bow inside to the head. May you see what is true without harshness. With the next, bow to the heart. May you stay on your own side and widen for others wisely. With the last, bow to the belly. May you release what isn't yours and act where you can. If you like, place 1 hand at each center for a heartbeat. Then let your hands rest. You might wonder what tomorrow wants from you. Not a new identity, not an unbreakable vow. Likely this, the same steady moves repeated: attend, act, release, listen before leaping. Choose 1 value for the day. Keep 1 boundary. Pair uncertainty with care. Begin again as many times as needed without making it a moral drama. If you wake in the night, remember no bargain rest. If the day brings a flood, remember not too tight, not too loose. If the conflict bumps your little boat, remember empty boat. If the past holds your ankle, remember thank and set down. If the future rehearses fears, remember 1 lane marker. If your heart hardens, remember compassion switch. If your map grows stale, remember fresh page entry. These are not slogans to memorize. They are instruments you can pick up the way your hands know how to reach for a light in the dark. We'll close with a simple blessing that isn't a spell but a set of wishes born of practice. You can receive it in silence. You can let it blur into sleep. You can return to it on a bus or in a kitchen. It will still work. May your breath learn the unhurried cadence of trust. May your body feel companioned from the inside. May your mind rest on a wider sky than its thoughts. May craving remind you to nourish, not to grip. May aversion teach you the clarity of honest boundaries. May confusion guide you to smaller frames and kinder paces. May your compassion be practical and quietly brave. May your clear seeing be accurate and warm. May your letting go be a soft hand, not a fist. May you remember to tune your string again and again and hear your life make music. If sleep is ready, follow it like a tide moving out. If you are awake a while longer, let the room hold you. Somewhere, in the dark you cannot see, tiny shifts are happening. Blood repairing, cells speaking, muscles lengthening their stories into rest. You do not have to manage this. You can allow. One last time, feel the contact points. Heel, calf, thigh, hip, shoulder, back of the head, and the air at your nostrils, cool as it enters, warmer as it leaves. The quilt of ease remembers your shape. You are allowed to be exactly this human and still be worthy of peace. Good night, dear friend. May you be at ease in the river you cannot control. May you drift and steer in wise measure. May morning find you with softer hands.